The emperor, with his mind-reading power, became a ruthless scoundrel. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151. He can take on the responsibility. Rui Ziying comforted her for a long time and cooked a large table of food to calm her down. Only then did she finally calm down. Thank you, sister. After escaping death this time, I realized how rare it is to have someone willing to stand by your side unwaveringly. And you, sister, are such a person. It is because of your existence that I am inspired and have a lot of hope all the time. It also makes me understand that my life in this world still has a certain meaning. Rui Ziying took her hand and comforted her. No one will think that your life in this world is meaningless. I told you a long time ago that everyone's existence has a certain value. Go back and have a good rest first. I will tell you other things after you have recovered. Now the emperor has begun to take action against the people of the enemy country, and no one at the inn can escape. The emperor will definitely avenge you. Although Manziosi didn't believe Geng Guanyu very much, she decided to believe Rui Ziying. Since Rui Ziying had told her so, she naturally had nothing to worry about. As long as the enemy country could be solved, she would never encounter such a thing again. After Manziosi came back, Rui Ziying was obviously relieved and went to Mrs. Rui to celebrate. Mrs. Rui had been worried recently, but he couldn't help much and could only worry. Rui Ziying was helping to lead the new soldiers in the military camp during this period, so he didn't know about this matter, but he also knew that there should be some movement in the court recently, otherwise Geng Guanyu would not search every household so loudly. He also wrote a letter to ask Rui Ziying what was going on. Rui Ziying just perfunctorily said something and didn't tell the truth of the matter. He told him to pay attention to his physical condition over there. If he felt uncomfortable, he should remember to find a military doctor for treatment in time, and never bear it alone, and don't worry about wasting the army's resources. After all, he is old now. If he is not careful, the old disease will relapse, which will be a complete trouble. Although Mu Huanjin and other masters have opened a certain house, they still need some time to recuperate, and Rui Ziying's original plan was to let him go to the military camp to help lead the new soldiers after his body was completely recovered. However, my father was a man who could not sit still. After staying in the palace for a few days, he was always a little depressed. When he heard how the emperor asked him to manage the new soldiers, he immediately set off overnight. In order to prevent Rui Ziying from dissuading him, he did not even say hello and left in a hurry. When Rui Ziying learned the news, her father had already arrived at the military camp. She could only laugh and cry and think that he had gone. But as soon as there was a letter, she would immediately write to her father, telling him to take good care of his body no matter what, and to take the medicine on time, and never forget it because he was too busy. Mrs. Rui said that Rui Ziying was too worried. After all, her father had been alone for so many years, and he knew it in his heart, and he didn't need to specifically remind him at all. But Rui Ziying also knew that she was actually worried in her heart, but she was just strong on the surface. When her father was away before, her mother still had her daughter to rely on, but later her only daughter entered the palace to become the queen. And she was alone at home, helpless, and the whole person aged a lot in an instant. Although she is now close to the palace and can see her often, her mother is quite bored because she is the queen and has many things to do. She cannot always be by her side. Rui Ziying understands this point, but she has been too busy recently and has no time to take care of her mother. Fortunately, her mother is very considerate and has not made things too difficult for her. She has never said anything bad about her from beginning to end, which gives Rui Ziying a chance to breathe. Now that she has finally free time, she naturally wants to spend most of her time with her mother. Accompanying her to eat and talk can be regarded as a way to show her filial piety. Mrs. Rui happily poured 2 glasses of wine and said to Rui Ziying, "You should have called the imperial concubine over. You and the imperial concubine have such a good relationship. In fact, I like the imperial concubine very much and have already loved her like half a daughter." This time she suddenly disappeared, and my heart was in turmoil and I was very worried. Now that I know she is safe, I can rest assured. Rui Ziying smiled and said soothingly, "The imperial concubine was frightened during the time she was kidnapped. I let her have a good rest in the palace. When she has rested well, mother will naturally be able to see her." Mrs. Rui also said that she could understand. After all, being kidnapped is not a trivial matter, and being imprisoned immediately afterwards is not something that anyone can endure for such a long time, let alone the imperial concubine who is accustomed to a life of luxury. Any other high-ranking official would not necessarily encounter all this, but as a concubine, she was still in the palace, but she was kidnapped. It would be incredible for anyone. Although Geng Guanyu deliberately concealed this matter, some rumors still spread, and it had a certain impact on Geng Guanyu's reputation. The enemy country was able to kidnap a concubine under Geng Guanyu's nose, which shows how arrogant he was. Geng Guanyu and Rui Ziying both speculated that this matter might be related to the enemy country. They deliberately sent out such news to mislead the common people. This emperor was unreliable, so that if someone chose to rebel with cavalry at this time, then that person would be able to ascend to the throne naturally. Although the performance of ordinary civilians cannot determine anything, nor can they interfere in the royal family dispute, it is still beneficial to be recognized by them. Otherwise, that person would not be so arrogant and delusionally hope to get the support of the common people. That person repeatedly discredited Geng Guanyu's reputation, not just to make the common people think that Geng Guanyu was not capable of taking on the responsibility and continue to sit on the throne. If the common people really thought so, then Geng Guanyu might not be able to sit on this position for long. Even they thought so, then the ideas of the dignitaries must be similar to theirs. Chapter 152 A Good Story. Geng Guanyu was so angry that he slammed the table. It's really outrageous. How dare they be so arrogant? I have been trying every means to make them reveal their foxtails and grab their pigtails. As a result, they dared to make such a fuss at this juncture. Doesn't he really not take me seriously at all? Rui Ziying also expressed helplessness in this regard. She didn't know what the enemy country was thinking. It was so perfect in all aspects. It was almost perfect. If it continued to develop, the consequences would be disastrous. But now their plan has not been implemented yet. As a result, the underestimated people took action again. It stands to reason that they could take advantage of this opportunity to catch the opponent's foxtail, but the opponent launched a scapegoat at this time. But Geng Guanyu was fooled. This is the most fatal thing. She rubbed her temples with a headache and said to Geng Guanyu, if you really want them to take you seriously, then you must at least show some strength. Just like this time, they just threw out a bait, but you foolishly fell for it. If you continue like this, you may not be able to sit on the throne for long. Although Rui Ziying also knew that this matter had little to do with Geng Guanyu, because even she couldn't help but be fooled, the person the enemy country put forward this time was actually King Yanlan. Logically speaking, King Yanlan is Geng Guanyu's brother and the only brother still alive. If he really likes Geng Guanyu, then he does have the right and strength to do this. If other people come to compete, no matter from some aspects, there is no benefit and it can't be realized at all. Although King Yanlan is a good person in the original text, because her arrival has caused many collapses in the plot, Rui Ziying can't help but think that King Yanlan's mentality has changed because of her arrival, and he has colluded with the enemy country. After all, before she arrived, the enemy invaded the country. This situation was not so strong at all, and there was no behind-the-scenes mastermind. All of this happened after she arrived. As a result, Rui Ziying did not get the script in advance, and she did not know who was behind all this. So when King Yanlan was pushed out, although Rui Ziying was still a little skeptical, she did not strongly say that he could not do such a thing, so she thought she also had a certain responsibility. But think about it carefully, if this matter really has nothing to do with King Yanlan, why would the people of the enemy country be willing to throw dirty water on him? Is there any corresponding connection between the two? Rui Ziying was puzzled and did not know how to draw a conclusion at all. She still had some doubts about King Yanlan. After all, that person herself really didn't know anything. If the enemy just wanted to divert attention, then this trick can indeed play a certain role, but is it necessary to involve King Yanlan? There must be some unspeakable secrets in this. Geng Guanyu's first reaction when he saw Rui Ziying was angry was to apologize to Rui Ziying. He had never thought that he would have such an idea before. Now that this idea came up, he suddenly felt it was particularly incredible. After all, he had been the emperor for such a long time, and he had already developed a proud character. No one could make him apologize. No matter how wrong he had done, he could just find an excuse to get by. At this moment, he was really afraid that Rui Ziying would be angry. Even he himself couldn't tell clearly what the reason was. He could only bow his head and say to Rui Ziying, This matter does have something to do with me. I have been prejudiced against King Yanlan from the beginning, so once they implicated my anger on King Yanlan, I would lack certain judgment, which would lead to real suspicion of him. In fact, Rui Ziying can understand this point. After all, Geng Guanyu had already known that King Yanlan liked him. It was probably from this aspect that he began to doubt him, so he chose to believe others just because of a misunderstanding. Even he himself didn't see the reason. Geng Guanyu believed that it seemed reasonable. After having such an idea, Rui Ziying did not intend to continue to blame Geng Guanyu. Instead, she sighed silently and said helplessly, "You must find a way to prove yourself first. Ordinary people are most likely to be misled. Once any information that is unfavorable to you is spread, it will soon be spread crazily, just like the last poisoning incident. The people once doubted your strength. Fortunately, the poisoning incident was finally resolved and you regained their trust. Rumors are the most terrible and the easiest to believe. If this matter is allowed to ferment, then the people have no idea of the trust they have built in you. I am afraid that it will be made public again. This time the incident will be worse than the last time, and the consequences are also something we feel we cannot afford." Geng Guanyu certainly understood this, but he always felt a little headache, because the people of the enemy country really didn't think of leaving him any way to survive. They targeted him in every way from the beginning, but he still wanted to lure the snake out of the hole until now, and he didn't even get any news from the other side. Who is the one hiding in the dark? What is his purpose? Are they really planning to drive him off the throne? He thought about it for a long time, and it is estimated that this is the only purpose. If the other party is only after Wang Weilei, why should they target him in so many ways? But if he gets off this position, who will benefit the most? Let us fall in love with Wang Yanlan as much as we want, and there are not so many of your people, but King Yanlan is indeed innocent, so does the person in the dark want to overthrow him and make himself king? Thinking about it, I really think there's this possibility. If it is not for the red taste, who would be stupid enough to be his enemy? After all, he is now the king of a country, sitting in this position. If it is not for the benefit, no one can have the courage to target him, and he is also colluding with the enemy. Chapter 153, Misled. This will lead to the execution of all 9 clans. If there is no direct guarantee, who would risk the execution of all 9 clans to do such a treasonous thing? Rui Ziying still found it hard to believe. Don't you have anyone to suspect? There are so many people coming and going around you. Isn't there anyone who has any ulterior motives towards you? Geng Guanyu said with a smile. Do you think that besides you, there is anyone else who really has no ulterior motives towards me? There are so many people who are interested in me, and it is precisely because of this that I can't doubt it. After all, the area is too large, and I can't say for sure who has such a treasonous mind. Rui Ziying thought about it and felt that this made sense. After all, there were so many people who were dissatisfied with Geng Guanyu now, and anyone could become a suspect, even herself. It was just because she had been with Geng Guanyu for many years, so she had no reason to doubt it. Forget it, forget it. Don't talk about this matter for now. I'll have someone stop the rumors. You should implement our previous plan as soon as possible and lure that person out. According to the plan they implemented before, Geng Guanyu could just take advantage of this opportunity to pretend to be sick. As long as the news spreads, the other party will definitely take action. After all, Geng Guanyu's illness is a good opportunity for them. If that person doesn't have any shape, it can only mean that the person can choose to be a token, and the other party's patience is very good, then he is not a good opponent. Being an opponent with such a person, it will not be very disadvantageous for their situation. Even Rui Ziying can't determine what the other party will choose. But one thing is certain, so Rui Ziying will never let others succeed so easily. Rui Ziying was busy refuting rumors, but Geng Guanyu pretended to be sick, so he didn't go to court the next day. He just asked Rui Ziying to say a few words in a hurry and spread the news that Geng Guanyu was sick. He also mentioned the rumors outside, saying that Geng Guanyu was angry about them. Even Dr. Mu said that Geng Guanyu should take good care of himself recently and would not attend court for half a month. He asked the ministers to stay at home and report any problems. The ministers looked at each other, still finding it unbelievable. Some began to insult the person who spread the rumors, while others were worried about Geng Guanyu's health and asked Rui Ziying if she needed to introduce a doctor or send some precious medicinal materials. Rui Ziying just smiled casually, and then said, "The emperor can't go to court recently, and I, a woman, I'm not good at helping him and dealing with so many things in the court. You just need to deal with your own affairs and don't let the emperor worry about it. You are all chosen by the emperor's star, or people trusted by the emperor. I believe you will do your job well, as Rui Ziying expected. Because of the mathematics of rumors, Geng Guanyu's success became much more logical, and no one doubted it at all. Soon the news spread to everyone, and the Queen Mother also spread it deliberately, saying that as long as the child's illness can be cured, there will be serious injuries. Rui Ziying also rushed back in advance after hearing the news. Rui Ziying told him about Geng Guanyu's pretending to be sick, and accurately mentioned that someone was deliberately spreading rumors to try to create panic. Rui Ziying was very angry because of this, and agreed with Rui Ziying to deal with that person in this way, and also said that he would accompany Geng Guanyu to protect his safety. At the beginning, Rui Ziying was worried that if he was there, the enemy would be hesitant and dare not show his true colors. But later, she felt that if someone as loyal as her father did not come back to visit the emperor when he was sick, that would be a real big problem, and the other party would really be suspicious. On the contrary, her father was guarding this place, so even if that person had some suspicions, he would not be on guard. After all, this opportunity was really rare for them. It was not easy to catch a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. No one would give up easily. Rui Ziying believed that the person would be fooled. They waited for 2 days, and there was no news from the court. Rui Ziying learned a big thing. King Yanlin had been in contact with a divorced person recently, and it seemed that he was discussing some important information. He went to a restaurant and stayed in it for a long time before coming out. It was not easy to clear his suspicion before, but now the other party made such a strange move, which made Rui Ziying have to suspect that this matter was indeed related to him. The reason why she deliberately threw dirty water on him before was just to cover up her tracks. Now that Geng Guanyu was sick, he finally got a chance to show his true colors. Soon Geng Guanyu began to investigate the situation of King Yanlin and even asked the imperial concubine to lure the snake out of the hole to see if she could find out some truth. Manzai was very powerful this time. It didn't take long for her to bring Rui Ziying a good news. They found that the person King Yanlin was going to meet this time was actually an envoy from the enemy country. This was very suspicious. The kidnapping of Manzai by the envoy of the enemy country had already caused an uproar. At this juncture, the enemy had been driven out, but appeared as a guest in their country. This was originally very ambiguous, and the most suspicious thing for them was that King Yanlin actually went out to meet him openly. It can be said that if there is no urgent matter, King Yanlin will not do such an impulsive thing, so Rui Ziying is very sure that this incident must be related to him. He has been lurking beside Geng Guanyu for such a long time, guarding the border, and acting as a good brother. I didn't expect that this incident would involve him. It seems that he was loyal to Geng Guanyu before, but he was just playing a show. His real purpose is to seize the throne. He must have planned for a long time to do things to this extent. Before, he stayed at the border and wanted to contact people in the enemy country. It was easy, and they might not be able to get the news. Unexpectedly, it created a good opportunity for him. Chapter 154, Obsessed. Rui Ziying quickly told Geng Guanyu the news. The moment Geng Guanyu learned the truth, he almost collapsed. He never thought that his own brother would frame him like this. The most crucial point is that during the battle for the throne, King Yanlin still stood firmly on his side. It can be said that his brother had made certain contributions to his throne, but now the other party still chose to betray him. How could he choose not to accept this fact? If he wanted to betray, he would not have waited until now. Is there any secret in this? Or maybe the battle for the throne was too difficult. King Yanlin chose to help him at the beginning, but he thought he was too stupid and thought that he would not be able to sit in this position for long. He could replace him without going through so much trouble and gain his trust. If this is true, then there is probably no one more terrifying than the King of Yan'an. He was able to take all of this into account, and with his superb acting skills, he was able to keep himself out of the matter and stay in the border area, but he was able to contact the enemy country, and they didn't notice anything. How could the King of Yan'an be an ordinary person who could do this? Although Geng Guanyu had returned to him before, when the truth was really in front of him, he still felt a little unbelievable. They were just suspicious before, and from a certain point of view in his heart, he still selfishly thought that this matter had nothing to do with him, but now Rui Ziying has put the truth in front of him. Even if he wants to defend the other party, it is impossible, and he can only choose to accept reality. Are you sure this matter is really related to him? Rui Ziying nodded affirmatively, and then said, I know this matter really makes me feel unbelievable. At the beginning, I was unwilling to believe the facts in front of me, but the truth is indeed so. Even if you don't want to believe it, there is no other way. This was found out by the imperial concubine. With the imperial concubine's strength, she will not want to lie to us. Geng Guanyu took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. If he still had some confidence in King Yanlin just now, then at this moment his only mood was completely shattered. If Manzai really wanted to quote them or deceive them, she would never use such means. Then it seems that you are really inseparable from him in this matter. In this case, I will not show mercy to him. He has done things to this point. Even if my mother personally pleads for him, I still think he is unforgivable. When the two countries were at war, I did not involve him. I was even considerate and asked him to stay at home and not go out to avoid being innocently implicated. But he might be the mastermind behind the incident. If you hadn't come up with this idea, I would probably have been kept in the dark by him. Maybe until I die, I would not want to believe that this matter has anything to do with him. When he thought of the past between himself and King Yinan, he felt cold all over and could not help shivering. The hatred in his heart could not be suppressed and he became more and more furious. We are of the same origin. You don't know how he could be so cruel as to do such a thing. I even suspect that the isolation at the beginning had something to do with him. Maybe I have been in his calculations since I sat on the throne, and now the plot is developing exactly as he expected. He wants my life. He knows that if I don't have the throne, then I will have nothing, but he still chooses to do this. Rui Ziying didn't say anything, but this time King Yanlin was indeed a little too much. He knew that this treasure was so big for a man, but he had to fight for it. But since ancient times, how could people who want to do great things care about the feelings of others? King Yanlin may have done this for himself, but this is very unfair to Geng Guanyu, and she must help Geng Guanyu keep the throne. Since King Yanlin dares to do this, it means that he has a certain degree of confidence in himself. What I hate most is people who have mysterious confidence in themselves, right? Now we already know his purpose and have certain goals. In fact, if he wants to take action against you now, it will not be as easy as imagined. He must consider whether he is qualified enough. As the saying goes, if the enemy comes, we will stop him with a general, and if the water comes, we will cover it with earth. If he dares to do this, then we will do our best to deal with it. I don't believe he can deal with the two of us, even if he joins forces with the enemy country. As long as he dares to step into our territory, then we can make sure he will never get out and will never come back. Geng Guanyu always felt a little sad. He held Rui Ziying's hand and said, no matter what, he is my only brother. If possible, I still want to leave him a way out. If he can admit his mistakes and correct them and reform himself in time, then I can let bygones be bygones. After all, he and I are from the same roots. I believe that when I know about this, he will ask me to save his life. Geng Guanyu is not the kind of indecisive person. The reason why he did this was just to explain it for his only blood relative. He knew Rui Ziying was the kind of person who could do what she said, and he also knew Rui Ziying's character. If that day really came, she would definitely eliminate King Yanlin without hesitation to eliminate future troubles. Rui Ziying smiled and said, in fact, even if you don't say this, I will still ask you for mercy. King Yanlin should not die in such an occasion. He can have a good end in the end. According to the original ending, he was still with Manzai in the end. Rui Ziying was even more reluctant to believe that this time he was obsessed or induced by someone, which led to him becoming a scapegoat again. However, no matter what the final outcome was, she wanted to leave him a way out and let him live well. After all, she promised Manzai to arrange a good ending for her. If her ending was destined to be King Yanlin, then it would be a good story if King Yanlin could look back on the two of them together in time. King Yanlin's destination is not here. I believe he was possessed by a ghost this time, and he did not intend to plot against you. Although I have not known him for a long time, I believe he is not that scheming. He must have been misled this time. Chapter 155 Winning by Character. Geng Guanyu also felt that Rui Ziying was right. I grew up with him, and no one knows him better than me. Although he is sometimes smart, he doesn't have such deep thoughts, and he is kind-hearted and can't do such cruel things. He has always respected me as his brother. If I really care about his problem, then I really don't know how to choose. At this moment, only Rui Ziying understood Geng Guanyu's helplessness. Being betrayed by his own brother is a very devastating thing. Anyone would find it difficult to accept, even Rui Ziying. Then what they never expected was that King Yanlin actually came to visit Geng Guanyu at this time, and brought a lot of valuable items. Geng Guanyu was angry now. When he saw him, he said unhappily, "What are you doing here?" King Yanlin was stunned for a moment. He obviously didn't expect Geng Guanyu to have such a big grudge against him. He was at a loss and could only look at Rui Ziying helplessly. Then, what he didn't expect was that Rui Ziying saw his face with disappointment. This made him puzzled, and he didn't understand what he had done wrong to make the two of you feel this way about him at the same time. Brother and sister-in-law, did I do something wrong? Why do you two look at me so cruelly, as if you want to kill me? I don't think I have done anything unforgivable. Geng Guanyu snorted and didn't intend to talk to him. He just looked at Rui Ziying silently and tried to let Rui Ziying explain to him what happened. Rui Ziying didn't hide too much because she wanted to leave him a way out. Instead, she chose to get straight to the point. King Yanlin, I don't care what your real purpose is, but you must tell me honestly now, what is your relationship with the enemy's envoys? I have already learned that you met with them in the inn today. If you can't give a perfect explanation, then I can only assume that you have connection with the enemy, and all the problems we encountered before are included in your calculations. After hearing Rui Ziying's words, King Yanlin couldn't help but raise his eyebrows, and then he suddenly realized. So it's because of this matter? Then I think I should explain to you. I received a letter yesterday, asking me to go to the inn to meet someone, saying that person can change the destiny of our country. I went to Qiang to help my royal brother share his worries, but I didn't expect that I would be offended by my royal sister-in-law because of this matter. It was not until I went there that I learned that the person I was going to meet was actually an envoy from the enemy country. I knew that my royal brother had driven him out before. I was surprised that he would appear in the inn. Why was I here at that time? What was his purpose? However, he just talked to me about other things. It delayed us for 2 hours, and he didn't tell me what his purpose was. Now I think they should have wanted to lure me over there, so that you would be interested in me. All of this is part of their calculations. My royal brother and sister-in-law, every word I said just now is true, you must believe me. After listening to this, Geng Guanyu and Rui Ziying felt speechless, but in some ways, they also felt a lot more relaxed. As long as this matter had nothing to do with him, then things would be much easier. In the next countermeasures, they will not have any scruples. As long as they are not betrayed by their own brothers, they will be able to accept the result. No matter who the other party is, they have a way to find that person. Rui Ziying said with sudden enlightenment, so that's what happened. It seems that this matter is indeed related to them. Since you are innocent, we are relieved. We have been worried that you are the mastermind behind all this. After all, we played a play that reflected junior high school, but the snake that was lured out turned out to be you, which made us feel extremely collapsed and desperate. The Emperor is unwilling to believe that this matter has anything to do with you. He has been trying to defend you. Now it seems that you have lived up to his kindness to you. I can guarantee that as long as the Emperor is still in this position, you can live a life of wealth and glory. As long as you don't have any thoughts of betrayal, the Emperor will not make things difficult for you. You are his only brother. He can let you enter and leave the palace freely and visit the Empress Dowager at any time. This is his promise to you. I think you should have feelings for him before you can do nothing, but you can't let him down. King Yanlin nodded and said very seriously, of course I understand this matter, and I am very grateful to my royal brother for his trust in me. If he hadn't allowed me to enter and leave the palace freely, I would naturally not have the time to accompany my mother often. When I was at the border before, my life was simply miserable. Now it is many times better than before. I should be grateful. Of course, I am also very grateful to my royal brother for not suspecting me this time, and even thinking about exonerating me. I am even more grateful to my royal sister-in-law for saying this to me, otherwise I might really not know what to do. We almost fell into the enemy's conspiracy, and we saw through the other party's plan in time and did not let them succeed. I also thank my royal brother for not believing the rumors and taking action against me without authorization before getting my explanation. Geng Guanyu also felt very fortunate, but he knew in his heart that even if his brother had 10 more courage, he would never do something to hurt him like this, and the reason why he believed that this incident had nothing to do with him was because he knew him. You won this time because of your character. If we hadn't grown up together, this incident might have successfully knocked us down. Your character also gave you a chance. You should hold on to the queen. What I said just now is right. As long as you don't betray me, I won't act against you easily. You are my only brother, and I cherish the relationship between us, King Yanlin said very seriously and made a promise. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156, Pretending to be sick and acting to deceive the ministers. You may rest assured, my royal brother. I will follow you all my life and will never have any intention of betraying you. If one day I really betray you, I will punish you in front of you. I will never let you get into any trouble, nor will I let our mother get into trouble because of me. Prince Yanlin had already said this, so this matter really had nothing to do with him. If someone spoke dirty words about him again in the future, Geng Guanyu had the right to believe him. So he said calmly, since this matter has nothing to do with you, why don't you tell me why you came here? King Yanlin smiled a little ashamed, and said embarrassedly, in fact, the purpose of my coming here is very simple, which is to report to you, my royal brother, that I was deceived by the envoy of the enemy country, but I didn't expect that you had already known about this in advance. Well, in this case, I have nothing to say. It turns out that I can't deceive you two about anything. Rui Ziying smiled. What King Yanlin gave me so anxiously, there's not much left now. We should not have returned to you in the first place, and we should not have believed in slander. Now it seems that the emperor still trusts you very much. King Yanlin nodded. The other party's instigation did not play any role, but the distant things had spread more and more, and even the people had begun to make up rumors. Some children kept singing insulting words about Geng Guanyu on the streets. This made Rui Ziying miserable, and she couldn't think of any other way to deal with this matter. She could only suppress it temporarily, especially reminding local officials that if anyone else took advantage of this incident to cause trouble, then that person would be killed without mercy. Once the news spread, basically all the people who spread this matter chose to quietly shut up, and no one dared to mention it anymore, and this matter was covered up quietly. Did Geng Guanyu and his friends Ru Dai at this time play any role? He could only continue to pretend to be sick, and Rui Ziying also pushed everything away, basically hiding it from everyone, and quietly took care of him in the palace. Geng Guanyu said miserably, if this continues, how long will I have to live? I can't lie in bed all the time. I feel like I'm about to get moldy after lying in bed for so many days. I don't know how many things are waiting for me to deal with in the court. Rui Ziying rolled her eyes and said unceremoniously, do you think I'm happy to let you lie in bed? I'm responsible for taking care of you every day. I'm also very tired, okay? Besides, it's the same whether you are there or not on the court. Everyone knows it. Those who are truly loyal to you will be happy to take your place even if you are not there, and complete the unfinished tasks for you in advance. As for those who don't care about you, what's the point of you sitting there? They still have ulterior motives. Geng Guanyu thought about it and felt that what Rui Ziying said made sense, so he just let it go. Yes, it's not easy to have a chance to rest. I'd better lie in bed obediently. It happens to be that I can enjoy your care, Queen. I don't have such a good opportunity at ordinary times. It's rare to see the gentle and virtuous side of the Queen, Rui Ziying said with a smile. You are addicted to pretending to be sick, right? Do you believe me? I will break your legs right now and turn your fake illness into a real one. You can't be so cruel. I still have important things to do, otherwise my position will be replaced by someone else. Can you really bear to watch me being driven off the throne? When Mu Huanshan walked in from outside, he happened to hear what Geng Guanyu said. He felt a little embarrassed for a while. After all, he caught them flirting. However, in order to play this scene well, he would come to check basketball's health every day, but today he just happened to catch them getting along. After all, he was not very old, and his face couldn't help but blush after hearing about this kind of thing. Rui Ziying was a little embarrassed when she saw him come in, but fortunately she was thick-skinned and quickly calmed down, then said, is it time for the daily checkup again? How is the Emperor's health recovering? How long does he need to lie down? Mu Huanshan's answer was very official, it's hard to say. How long it will take depends on the Emperor's own physical recovery. I don't know it officially. He has been overworked, and because of his impatience, it is inevitable that he will need a longer recovery time. If nothing unexpected happens, a month should be enough. If he hasn't recovered after a month, it only means that the emperor's body has been drained too much, and he needs a lot of medicinal herbs to replenish his body. His answer satisfied Rui Ziying very much. A month was enough time for them to rescue the big snake behind them. This matter could not be delayed any longer. They must work non-stop to make the other party show his true colors and make up for their mistakes. If they continued like this, the civilians would only suffer more disasters. As long as the person behind the scenes is brought out, things will become very simple. Even if many opponents want to take action, so what? They have to consider whether they are qualified enough. They have been very cautious in order to play this scene well. Every little detail can be handled. Even the little palace maids are careful. You think the other party will reveal any flaws? It is estimated that the other party has tried many times and cannot be sure whether Geng Guanyu is really sick. Because Rui Ziying and Mu Huanshan have a good relationship, Geng Guanyu's physical condition has always been checked by him. Therefore, many people in the court have tried every means to ask him about Geng Guanyu's physical condition, but according to the current situation, no effect has been obtained. Although Mu Huanshan is not very old, he is very smart. He knows what to say and what not to say. It is almost impossible for others to ask him questions. Mu Huanshan examined Geng Guanyu as usual and then gave him another reminder. Your Majesty's health is almost recovered. As long as you lie in bed patiently, you should be able to recover in no time. But what I just said was not a joke. Your body is really too exhausted. Chapter 157. He knows me well. This was a perfectly normal sentence, but Geng Guanyu felt that he had ulterior motives. He nodded awkwardly, thinking that this brat was still scolding him in a roundabout way. Even the universe had been conquered by him, but this brat was saying it over and over again. He was drained. He and Rui Ziying had not been together for that long. He was busy with illness during this period. Although the two of them could often be together, Rui Ziying was unwilling most of the time. Therefore, he couldn't help but worry about when Rui Ziying would be able to get pregnant. If he continued to delay like this, it would probably take 3 to 5 years for the baby to be pregnant. He said, you should check the queen as well. This is usually just to check her pulse, and there won't be much information to be found. But after Mu Huanshan checked Rui Ziying, he suddenly had big eyes, looked at Rui Ziying with disbelief, and said with joy, Sister, you are pregnant. Rui Ziying didn't react to what she meant at first. When she reacted, although she was still a little shocked, she could accept it. After all, she took the fertility pill, and with the efficiency of the system, it really wouldn't take long for her to get pregnant. Now it has been a full month, and it is almost time. Geng Guanyu asked in surprise, Really? The queen is really pregnant? Mu Huanshan nodded, It's true. Even if you lend me 10 courages, I dare not joke about the child. This is the heir to the throne. Geng Guanyu also thought so. If anyone dared to joke about the child, he would take that person's life without hesitation. Although Mu Huanshan is not very old, he is always very cautious when doing things, so what he said is most likely true, so he said it ecstatically. The queen is finally pregnant. I have a child. I'm going to be a father. I'm so happy. Let's pass it on. Starting today, a 3-day banquet will be held in the palace to celebrate this happy event. However, Rui Ziying refused and stopped him. Don't mess around. It's not suitable to work hard in the first 3 months of pregnancy. Moreover, it will take 3 months to see whether the baby can be born. Besides, we have more important things to do now. If you know that I'm pregnant at this time, it will be equivalent to giving the other party a good opportunity. Let's wait until this matter is over before spreading the news. The queen has a child. This is a national event and it should be celebrated by the whole world. However, Geng Guanyu also thinks that Rui Ziying is right. Now they have more important things to do, so he silently plans a goal for himself in his heart. No matter what, he must solve this matter within 3 months. If the news of the pregnancy is spread at that time, wouldn't it be equivalent to double happiness? People all over the world should celebrate together. This is indeed a very happy thing. Only the 3 of them knew about Rui Ziying's pregnancy. Even Rui Ziying's parents were not told, because the fewer people who knew about this, the better. However, in order to keep the child, she has been cautious during this period, and every step she took was very steady, for fear that she would accidentally drop the child. There are too many people's sustenance on this child, so there must be no accidents. Rui Ziying knew this, so she was always cautious, for fear of anything happening. After their efforts, The other party finally revealed his feet and was caught by Rui Ziying and others. This person surprised Geng Guanyu. He didn't expect him. He actually had a certain blood relationship with him. He never knew the existence of this person before. It was only after knowing this that he prepared to rent his ancestral tomb to dig out his childhood. When the late emperor was traveling, he passed by a small village and fell in love with a woman and had a child with that woman. The child was the culprit of this incident. Geng Guanyu never knew the existence of the other party, and never heard of such a person, so he was a little surprised when he learned the truth. Although he knew that the late emperor was a playboy, he never thought that the late emperor actually left a younger brother for him outside the palace, and never thought of bringing him back. It can even be said that even the late emperor himself may not know that he had such a son. He died not long after he came back, and he replaced him. Therefore, even if he knew that he had a child, he did not have enough time to bring that person back. When Geng Guanyu learned the truth, he was a little amused. Soon the Queen Mother also knew about this. The Queen Mother never thought that she was so old, but she would be cheated on. She didn't know when the late emperor had such a big son outside, and he was targeting Geng Guanyu everywhere. He was so angry that he couldn't eat. I never thought that I would lose my reputation at such an old age. If I had known that the late emperor had such a big son outside, I would definitely catch up with the director and never leave any hidden dangers. Geng Guanyu was also a little speechless. He never thought that such a thing would happen to him. He was targeted by the other party for such a long time, and he found out that the other party was actually related to him. Moreover, the man had never been to the capital, and had never entered the palace. Logically, he should not know about their affairs, but the other party knew him very well, and even knew everything that happened in the palace. Let's not talk about what happened. The other party can do this. I guess there are many of his spies in the cucumber. Their every move may be under the control of the other party. To be able to do this, the other party's strength should not be underestimated. Don't be angry, mother. No matter how ridiculous father is, he wouldn't dare to use this matter to deceive you. He probably doesn't even know about this, otherwise he would have taken the child to Cheng Palace long ago. After all, the illegitimate child is also his own child. It's impossible for him not to treat him equally. Since he didn't take him back, it means that even father doesn't know about the existence of this child. Chapter 158, Mother Status. The Queen Mother became angrier and angrier as she thought about it. She shook her head tiredly and was unwilling to defend the late emperor. Although the late emperor had passed away for such a long time, this incident left a knot in her heart and made her feel uncomfortable. In the next few days, she became thinner and soon called Mu Huanshan over. Geng Guanyu blamed herself for this incident. If she had known, she would not have told him about it. But thinking about how ridiculous this matter was, it should not take long. In order to make the Queen Mother feel better, Rui Ziying suggested telling him about her pregnancy first, and she would not have to ask the Queen Mother to keep it secret in the future. So the Queen Mother heard about Rui Ziying's pregnancy through Mu Huanshan. She felt that there was no meaning in living in this world. She had to go down and ask the late emperor what was going on. When she heard that Rui Ziying was pregnant, she seemed to see hope again and she became energetic. Are you telling the truth? Is the queen really pregnant? Mu Huanshan nodded affirmatively, and then said, it has been 2 months. Because we didn't know who Dylan was before, my sister didn't plan to let anyone know about this matter. She will tell everyone the good news after the preparations are settled, so as to avoid causing unnecessary disasters or even harming the child, but Ziying is too thick and in poor health, and my sister is worried, so she can only inform me and tell your Queen Mother the good news in advance. You must ensure that the child lives well, otherwise you won't see the birth of your grandson. The Queen Mother had indeed been looking forward to this child for a long time. After hearing the news, she became energetic, and even she seemed to be 10 years younger. A smile appeared on her face, and she had forgotten about the affairs of the late emperor. Okay, and then they didn't wash it. It just means they weren't already horny. Logically, everyone should celebrate, but they are worried that they are trapped in this situation psychologically. It is indeed not appropriate to tell this news to others, so as not to put the child in danger. You can let the queen take good care of herself in the palace, and don't let any influence on the child. This is the emperor's first child. I'm still waiting for her to give birth to children for the emperor. You asked the queen to come over. I have something to say to her. Mu Huanshan shook his head and refused. When I came to the Empress Dowager again, my sister specifically told me about this matter. Don't let other people know. So please keep this matter a secret, and don't go to the trouble of calling my sister over to give a lecture or something like that. It will definitely arouse suspicion. If you really want to give instructions, you can tell me directly, and I will tell my sister. I believe my sister will understand the Empress Dowager's good intentions, although the Empress Dowager felt a little regretful. Rui Ziying was the eldest now, so there was nothing to say, and she nodded in agreement. Go back and tell the queen to take good care of herself and take good care of the child. Remember to prescribe more pregnancy-protecting medicine for her during this period. The queen has been overworked recently, and has been running around outside for the emperor's affairs. Don't let this affect the child, Mu Huanshan soothed her and said. Don't worry about this attitude. I know what I am doing. I will never let the child in your sister's belly have any deviation. I also value this child very much. She has been walking more carefully recently. I'm afraid that others will find out. The queen mother may not know that the first child is 140 yuan. If something unexpected happens, unless someone deliberately frames her, there are no other concubines in the palace, and the royal concubine is unlikely to do this. So as long as it is kept secret from other people, the child in your sister's belly is very safe. The queen mother was absolutely relieved about the royal concubine and nodded in agreement, saying, the royal concubine's child is fine. She won't do anything like this. I even think that she may look forward to the arrival of the child with me. She should not know that the queen is pregnant yet, right? Mu Huanshan shook his head. At present, it is unknown that only my emperor, empress and queen mother have not received this news during this period. You know, even the queen's parents have not received this news. The queen mother was very happy. Let's keep it secret for now. Everything depends on the queen. When the queen says when to announce the good news, I will send it. Although it is a little late, it is also a token of my heart. Mu Huanshan couldn't help but sigh that the saying a mother is honored by her son is indeed true. Now that she has a child, her status will be raised to a higher level. In the past, the queen mother didn't like Rui Ziying, and even he himself had already seen it. But now that his girlfriend has a child, the queen mother's attitude towards Rui Ziying has changed so obviously that it is simply unbelievable. When he told Rui Ziying about this, Rui Ziying was a little bit amused. In this era, women are too serious about being honored by their sons. Some women even think that as long as they have a child, they can stand firm by the man's side and tie the man down with a child, but in fact it is not the case. Whether in this era or in the era when she lived before, children only help women. As for men, they have no influence at all. Therefore, it is basically impossible to use children to tie a man. In the eyes of people of that era, as long as they have children, they are equivalent to gaining a foothold in a place. This is their deep-rooted thinking, and there is no way to change it. Rui Ziying is too lazy to care so much. Maybe he thinks that I can only truly sit firmly in the position of queen if I really have a child. Before, when I didn't have a child, she was indifferent to me. Now she thinks so highly of me. It is worthy of the saying that a mother is honored by her son. Now I finally feel the benefits of it. How is the queen mother's health? You have to work hard recently. Not only do you have to cooperate with us in acting, but you also have to pay more attention to the queen mother's health. You must not let the queen mother suffer any losses. That is a rare relative of the emperor in this world. Mu Huanshan nodded. Don't worry about this. I know that I will never let him suffer any losses. I will do my best to restore the queen mother's health. Chapter 159 Abandoned. Mu Huanshan's strength and medical skills were there. Rui Ziying had no reason to doubt it, and she let her go after she had said everything she needed to say. Although the envoy of the enemy country was driven out of the country by Geng Guanyu, she still arrived in the capital because the princess sent by the enemy country to marry was on the way before that. Geng Guanyu was not even interested in meeting her, but Rui Ziying had to meet her to avoid affecting the friendship between the two countries. The princess of the enemy country was quite beautiful, but it was a pity that when she spoke, she was as domineering as if someone was going to fight with her. You are the queen here. Why doesn't your emperor come to see me? After all, I am the princess sent by our country to marry. Is it really okay for you to treat me so coldly? Aren't you afraid that we will provoke a war? Rui Ziying smiled faintly and said, before this, the friendship between the two of us had already shown signs of breakdown. It is unusual for you to come here to marry at this juncture. Who knows what your purpose is? The emperor has been very polite by not turning you away. You actually want to take advantage of this incident to cause trouble. Do you think it's appropriate? The princess of the enemy country obviously didn't know where she was wrong, nor did she think that there was anything inappropriate in what they did. She still looked righteous and spoke very impolitely. This princess is willing to come to your country for marriage, which is already a great humiliation, and your country is so neglectful. When I go back, I will tell my father to raise you here, Rui Ziying said nonchalantly. If you feel that coming to our country for marriage is an injustice, then you can go back to your country now, and I will never stop you. The princess of the enemy country was very angry and said angrily, you will pay the price for your actions sooner or later. This princess will not let you go easily. Now that you are neglecting me, I will pay you back 100-fold and 1,000-fold in the future, Rui Ziying sneered and said, now that the relationship between our two countries has become like this, your arrival is unwelcome. If you can be honest and wait for our summons at this time, then I might be able to treat you a little better for the sake of the good relations between the two countries. It's a pity that you don't look very smart. Do you think you will have a good ending if you offend me? The people of your country sent you here to marry. At most you can only be promoted to the position of concubine, and for the relationship between the two countries, your position will never be promoted to the position of imperial concubine. So I stepped on you from the beginning, and if nothing unexpected happens, I will step on you for the rest of your life. The enemy princess, Teacher Qi, sent it. In fact, she knew in her heart that the country had given up on her in some ways by sending her here to marry, but she had never thought of giving up on herself. Even if she had arrived in another country, she still maintained a proud attitude. Because she was afraid that if she compromised, she would not be able to survive in this country at all, and she would be trampled underfoot and ravaged by others. She was such a proud existence in this country, but after arriving in another country, she could only be bullied. She naturally couldn't accept this fact. So she decided to give the queen a warning as soon as she arrived. Before she came, she heard that the relationship between the emperor and the queen was not very good. She thought that after she came, she would be respected and favored by the emperor. In this way, she would be able to step on the queen naturally. But the result was exactly the opposite of what she expected. The emperor was not even interested in meeting her. Instead, he sent the queen here to deliberately humiliate her. How could she swallow this breath? I won't let you succeed. I will definitely make a name for myself and your country in the past 2 days. Sooner or later, the current situation will be completely opposite. I will step on you without hesitation, rub you to my heart's content, and let you look up to me from a high position. Rui Ziying smiled indifferently, not taking her words to heart at all. If she really had this ability, she would not be sent here to marry as a discarded child of the country. She really thought that marrying was a good thing. If it was really her most beloved daughter, which father would be willing to send her to another country to suffer? It became a difficult thing to travel thousands of miles to see her. And if the two countries go to war, then the person I send as the core will definitely be the first to be affected, just like the princess in front of me. She obviously hasn't realized the seriousness of the matter and still thinks she is the princess of the country. But in fact, since she was designated as the core candidate, she has become a discarded child of the country and can no longer cause any trouble. If the relationship between the two people is still good, then she will be able to survive soon. But if the relationship between the two countries changes, then she will be the first person to be sacrificed. I don't know where you get the confidence to talk to me about Germany and Italy here. I can tell you clearly that you don't have this opportunity. Although the person sent by your country before has become our country's imperial concubine, do you know why she was able to become an imperial concubine? I am also responsible for this. If I don't agree, let alone an imperial concubine, she might not even be able to enter the palace. As everyone knows, the emperor only chose 2 people when he selected the concubines. One is me and the other is the imperial concubine. Her appearance in the palace may be arranged by you, but it must have been with my consent. Otherwise, when she first entered the palace, she was just an ordinary concubine. She was promoted to an imperial concubine. Do you think I didn't interfere? Now the relationship between the imperial concubine and I is very good. I believe you should have already received the news. As for if you offend me, it will be a big problem whether you can live in our country. You actually dream of stepping on me in the future. Don't you think this is a bit too wishful thinking? Since you have become a discarded child of the country, why not stay in our country and endure the humiliation? If you are willing to call me sister, I can tolerate your existence without any grudges. After all, as a woman, I can't bear to watch you suffer injustice. Chapter 160 We are enemies. The princess of the enemy country hesitated after hearing Rui Ziying's words. She was thinking about how many of Rui Ziying's words she could believe. It was impossible to put down her pride. On the way here, she kept telling herself that no one's words could be easily believed, although Rui Ziying's words were very convincing, and her current situation was indeed very unfavorable to her. But she didn't think Rui Ziying's words were credible. After all, they were enemies, and the other party had no need to help her. She preferred to believe the trap Rui Ziying had set for her this time, waiting for her to jump into it herself. She would definitely not let Rui Ziying succeed, so she also sneered and said, "Do you think I will believe your lies? Ask yourself, are you willing to believe what you said? We are originally enemies, will you be willing to help me? Anyway, I believe that you are not so kind, and you will not set a trap for me, and then watch me jump down and put me to death, right? In this way, you can go to the emperor to ask for credit and reward, and show off to the emperor how you made me fall into the trap and how I was stupid to death." Rui Ziying shook her head helplessly. It seemed that the princess was not going to listen to her. Although she was kind-hearted, she was obviously taken for granted and misinterpreted her meaning. In this case, she naturally did not need to stick to her butt. She was originally thinking of a kind heart. After all, as a woman, there is no need for a woman to embarrass another woman. But since the other person did not appreciate it, she did not need to say anything more, and just left a sentence. "You'd better take care of yourself. After all, you are now in someone else's country and you are showing off too much. It will not do you any good. You'd better restrain your character to avoid being at a disadvantage in the future. Once a war breaks out between the two countries, you will be the one who is abandoned, and you can imagine what the future will be like. I have already given you the opportunity. I am confident that you have not made good use of it. I will not say much. My time is limited and precious. The reason I came to say this to you is just because you are a woman. Do you really think I am afraid of you, or you think I will be afraid of you? I can tell you that these are all your wishful thinking. Not only do I not have any fear of you, I don't even mean to take you to heart at all. What you do will not cause any loss or change to me, even your appearance will not have any impact on the relationship between the emperor and me. After all, the emperor doesn't even want to see you, so how could he be charmed by you? Even the imperial concubine doesn't have this strength. Do you think you can do it with your looks and appearance? You are not even as pretty as the imperial concubine." This sentence undoubtedly hit the princess's soft spot. She was finally successfully provoked and said angrily, "What did you say? How can this princess be compared to a lowly maid? So what if she is beautiful? In the end, she is not just a foil for this princess. As long as this princess enters the palace, dare she act presumptuously in front of me?" Rui Ziying rolled her eyes and said bluntly, "Have you forgotten where you are now? In our country, there is a hierarchy of status. You used to be the queen and she was just an ordinary person, but now the relationship between you will change. She is our country's concubine, and you are nothing in our country, understand? She can do whatever she wants and trample you under her feet and insult you to her heart's content, but if you dare to do anything disrespectful to her, then I guarantee that it won't be long before you will be caught by our country's soldiers, thrown into prison, and suffer all kinds of torture, so I advise you not to do anything stupid. If the imperial concubine still has such malicious thoughts about you, then I can guarantee that you will never leave our country alive, and you should not have any hope for your country. The fact that you were sent here to marry actually explains everything. You just haven't been willing to admit it until now, but you know very well in your heart that you have become the wife of your country. The reason why you can show off your power here is just because your country and our country have not yet started a war. Once a war breaks out, you should know what the consequences will be for you. I'll tell you one last time, if you want to live well in our country, then I advise you to put away your temper and wait for our summons honestly. If you dare to make any impulsive moves, then I can guarantee that no one from your country will let you go easily at that time. Don't dream that you can trample me under your feet by showing your arrogance. I have just said that this is your wishful thinking. That kind of situation will never happen. No matter how bad the relationship between the emperor and I is, I still have my father to support me. As long as my father is useful to the emperor, my position beside the emperor will never change. The emperor will not let a woman from an enemy country become the queen and replace me. Even if the emperor really hates me one day and wants to replace me, it will not be your concubine's hope than yours. The princess of Li country was shaking with anger. She looked at Rui Ziying with big teeth in her eyes. She didn't even have the courage of her master to leave. She knew that she had no possibility of winning in front of Rui Ziying. Rui Ziying had too much capital to be proud of. Not only did she have a general as her father, but the most crucial point was that she fell in love with him and succeeded in gaining a foothold in this position and won the favor of Geng Guanyu. In this way, she came to the core of this country and became a joke. No one expected her to come. Her coming even became an existence that others did not want. She hated herself and hated such an existence. She began to hate herself. Why did she come to this country? And she also began to be angry at her father. Why did he let her become an abandoned child? If she was not sent here to marry, how could she have discovered so many embarrassing things? Thinking about it, her tears fell involuntarily. Chapter 161 This is not equal. After Rui Ziying returned to the palace, Geng Guanyu felt that he had come to blame Rui Ziying during this period. The princess of the enemy country has a hot temper. You shouldn't go to see her. You should let her fend for herself. As long as we ignore her existence, she will not have any impact on us. This will not affect the friendship between our two countries. The most important thing is that it can also prevent her from doing some improper behavior. I don't think that princess will stay in our country honestly. It won't take long for her to return to their country. Rui Ziying shook her head and said, she will not return to their country. She has been abandoned by the people of their country and forced to come to our country. That means her existence is also an existence that cannot be tolerated in their country. If even we can't tolerate her, then where can she go as a woman? The reason why I went to see her was just for the sake of being a woman. After all, it is not easy for women to survive in this era. I pitied her, so I went to see her, but I didn't expect that she didn't appreciate it at all. I am very regretful now, but I have said everything I should say to her. Since she didn't listen to me, it's not my fault. That's all I can say. From now on, I won't go to her and give her any good face. As for the consequences for her in our country, it has nothing to do with me. If she was smarter, she would stay by my side like the imperial concubine and be honest. But she is a princess and is different from Wei Fifei. She is proud. Not only did she take my kindness for granted, but I also thought she was expensive. I sneered and thought that sooner or later she would step on me, Geng Guanyu said helplessly. I was quite surprised that the imperial concubine could turn over a new leaf, but it is a good thing after all, so I accepted her change. But since the princess of the enemy country is unwilling to change, there is no need for you to waste your breath on such a person. How good can the people sent by the enemy country be? You'd better take good care of your baby in the palace. It's not even 3 months yet. If something happens to the child, I will be heartbroken. Rui Ziying curled her lips and said unhappily, so in your heart, I am not as important as children, right? I am just your tool for having children. Geng Guanyu apologized hurriedly. I can't speak. I have never regarded you as a tool for having children. We have a child, which is the fruit of our love. I will welcome her arrival, but before that, I have always regarded you as the most important one. Rui Ziying took the opportunity to tell her previous plan. Since you don't regard me as a tool for having children, how about you agree to one condition of mine? I think there is an equality between men and women in our country. Women are not inferior to men. Some men can go to the battlefield, but there is no precedent for women. Even in terms of serving in the army, women are excluded. Hearing Rui Ziying's words, Geng Guanyu knew that Rui Ziying had an idea in her mind, so he patiently asked, then what does the queen want to do? No matter what decision you make, I will support you without hesitation. Rui Ziying was quite surprised by Geng Guanyu's directness, so she also said directly, I want to achieve gender equality. What men can do, we women can do the same. Some women even far surpass some stupid men. They are far more knowledgeable than men. However, because of their identity as women, they can only be forced to learn music, chess, calligraphy and painting at home and cannot go out to lead troops to fight. Instead, their identity restricts them from expressing themselves. I hope you can rectify this behavior and give women every opportunity to shine and let them see hope in life. I believe there must be many women who are unwilling to do so and just stay in the family to take care of their children and husbands. They have read qualifications, but they just don't have enough places to play. If you can do this, I believe our country's strength will definitely be improved, because some women have been smoking dancing since childhood but have to hide the fact that they can fight. As long as we give them a chance, are we afraid that they can't be themselves openly? Geng Guanyu thought about it. Although he felt that Rui Ziying's proposal was a bit too bold, it could be described as incredible, which was unheard of before. But she always knew that Rui Ziying's idea was very bold, and it was not surprising that she could say such words. She was just a little entangled in how to achieve that effect. She looked at Rui Ziying helplessly and asked, "Since the queen can say such a thing, I believe you have some ideas in this regard, so let the queen give some advice on how to do it. This matter cannot be achieved overnight. It must be achieved through changes year after year. Before that, you must take good care of the fetus and give birth to the child first. At that time, no matter what you want to do in our country, I will support you without hesitation and agree with your ideas. It is inevitable to be happy to get recognition from others." So Rui Ziying's mood is not as good as relaxing on her own and said, "In fact, it doesn't take much time at all. As the saying goes, everything depends on human efforts. As long as we have this intention, it will not take long to achieve it. Maybe it will take a few years, or maybe it will take only a few months. After all, this is a good thing for women. If you want to spread this news, there will definitely be many women who will stand up and resist, but I believe that some men don't want women to stand up, because they don't want to admit that they are not as good as a woman. They will keep suppressing those people, forcing them to stay at home honestly, and some women have nowhere to complain and can only endure the oppression of those people. These are the most fatal. As long as you can do something like this, then I think it should be a piece of cake for our entire country. I will do my best to achieve my goal, do what I want to do, and transform our country into what I want to change. I don't like the way men and women get along in our country now. It's not equal." Chapter 162, Debate with Scholars. Geng Guanyu didn't know what gender equality meant. After all, he had been living in this way since he was born. Now, after Rui Ziying said it, he realized the seriousness of the matter. Rui Ziying was right. Some women were indeed better than men. Some men were simply scum. They looked down on women and even kept insulting women. But some women were no less powerful than men. They were just oppressed by the current society. If they were really given a chance, it wouldn't take long for them to overwhelm men and even make more contributions to the country than men. At that time, it would be a good thing or a bad thing. It was hard to say. But he knew that Rui Ziying was right. Some men would indeed prevent such things from happening for their own selfish desires. They couldn't just watch the women who used to be oppressed by themselves riding on their heads. It was simply a shame for them. This matter is easy to say, but it is extremely difficult to actually do it. When he told his idea to the ministers, he found that all of them opposed it. Even Yusufei, who always opposed him but was loyal to him, disagreed. The reason he gave was, from ancient times to the present, men have always been superior to women. It is natural for women to take care of men at home. If they are only given certain rights to go into battle and kill the enemy, then what value does our existence have to them? Some responsibilities should be borne by us men. Letting women go to the battlefield is simply a shame for us men. Even though we are now facing increasing difficulties from our national enemies, we have a beautiful country and so many good men. We can't really let women fight for us while we men hide behind them and reap the fruits of their labor. Right, what Yusufei said made a lot of sense. A large number of people supported his statement. Other ministers also said, "The Prime Minister is right. If that were the case, women would probably look down on us. After all, we can't even give them a perfect home. Then we would be the biggest failures. My existence would probably have no value to them. How can we establish our authority in front of women then? Once they are given enough rights, they will become arrogant and think they are capable. Not only will they betray men, they may even ride on our men's heads." Rui Ziying was very angry about this. She stood by and argued, "This is nothing but nonsense among you men. We women are not weaker than you men. We can even achieve mutual success with you men. The reason you can't accept this is that you are afraid that women will be outstanding and surpass you. In that case, your authority will be affected, but truly outstanding men will not care about this. They will think that with the help of women, their lives will become simpler. After all, there has been a saying since ancient times that men and women work together without getting tired. Once women have their own careers, I believe they will do better than you men." A minister said, "What the queen said is too much. Everyone knows that the emperor loves you the most, but this is only part of it. The emperor gave you these rights, but it does not mean that we can be as generous as the emperor and give other women the same rights. Some women are prone to taking advantage of others. The queen has no sufficient reason to refute this." Rui Ziying said, "I do not deny the existence of such people, but they are only a small part of the population. You cannot deny the majority of people because of such a small part of the population, not to mention, aren't there those men among you who have no strength at all but are overconfident? Therefore, no matter what happens, we cannot generalize, there are always special ones. We should now look for those special people, cultivate them, and let them have a more colorful life, instead of just waiting to find someone to marry when we are old enough. Even if there is no love, we choose to stay with him for the rest of our lives and have complete control over our lives. That is actually not fair to us women at all, the minister continued. There are already a lot of injustices in this world. What the Queen said is only a small part of it. There are even more unfair things happening in places you haven't seen. Moreover, the great country that we men have fought for should naturally be enjoyed by us men. Women are only able to live so safely and smoothly because of our protection. It is a favor for them to be able to stay at home to take care of their husbands and children. Rui Ziying was so angry at his words. How could someone hold such an idea? However, in this era, it is understandable. Equality between men and women is too difficult. It is unknown how many years it will take to achieve this goal. The idea that men are superior to women has left a deep-rooted idea in their hearts. They naturally cannot change the sentiment they have been raised since childhood, and most of them are chauvinists, so they naturally cannot tolerate women riding on their heads. In their view, women may just be tools for venting, and they are useless. Therefore, they can never tolerate the opinions put forward by Rui Ziying. Rui Ziying sighed helplessly and said tiredly, I don't care whether you agree or not. Anyway, I have decided so. The emperor also supports my idea. We will rectify your thoughts together. One day, women can stand up and face you face to face. So the ministers knelt on the ground, begging Geng Guanyu not to accompany Rui Ziying to make trouble. After all, their country has not had time to stabilize. If Rui Ziying is allowed to make such a fuss at this time, then their country may become a laughingstock of others. It is impossible for any country to allow women to become the sovereign party. Would that be a joke? Are there no men in their country? As men, they should grow up and protect delicate women. The best outcome for women is to stay at home and take care of their husbands and children. What kind of thing is it to let them go to the battlefield? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 I'm happy to send you out of the palace. Geng Guanyu was a little annoyed by their quarrels. He supported Rui Ziying's idea, but he couldn't stand so many ministers kneeling down and begging him not to accompany Rui Ziying to make trouble, so he could only look at Rui Ziying helplessly. He knew that Rui Ziying was a sensible person and would not make it too difficult for him, but this time he really supported Rui Ziying because he thought Rui Ziying was right. Women have been oppressed for so many years, and it is time for them to stand up. Rui Ziying is a heroine. If it weren't for Rui Ziying, it can be said that she would never stabilize the country in a short time, and it would be impossible to clean up the door so quickly. Rui Ziying has made an indelible contribution to his current situation. Therefore, he said nonchalantly, I think what the Queen said is right. Women's strength is actually not much weaker than our men. They just need a space for development. As long as we give them a stage, they can definitely make themselves more dazzling. You don't have to worry about being ridden over by women one day. If that day really happens, it can only mean that men have become weaker, not women have become stronger, because women have always been strong, but they have become accustomed to the feeling of being oppressed for a long time. They have received moral education since childhood, which is to take care of their husbands and children. They have never been told that they can actually go to the battlefield to kill the enemy and lead troops to fight. If we really train them like that, then our next generation will be very outstanding. Many of the ministers present have daughters. I believe that you definitely don't want your daughters to marry into other families and suffer. You hope that they can have a more glorious life, rather than just being wronged, compromising in their husband's family for a lifetime, taking care of their husbands and children, and spending their lives in obscurity. If they can have a better choice, then I believe they will not choose to just be an ordinary wife and mother. They must be more willing to live a more wonderful life like the Queen. The Emperor has already spoken, and those people can only hold back their complaints. As for the opinions raised by Rui Ziying, they still find it difficult to accept, and they feel that Geng Guanyu is simply making trouble for no reason. Since Rui Ziying played a role, Geng Guanyu has almost obeyed her in everything. No matter how incredible Rui Ziying's request is, Geng Guanyu will choose to agree without hesitation, which makes the ministers feel a little incredible. They even secretly look down on him, thinking that he has lost the face of a man. How can he be controlled by a woman? As a man, he should have the authority of a man, especially the emperor. Even if what a woman says makes sense, he must stick to his principles. How can he be controlled to this extent by a woman? What is the difference between this and a tyrant? After hearing what Geng Guanyu said, Rui Ziying was very moved. No matter how unreasonable her request was, Geng Guanyu still chose to stand on her side unswervingly, which made her feel particularly satisfied and fulfilled. The only thing that made him dissatisfied was that these ministers were simply stubborn and completely unwilling to accept the conditions he proposed. In fact, no matter which side he stood on, men would benefit from the conditions he proposed. However, they could not accept that woman riding on their heads, and they were afraid of that day. In fact, to put it bluntly, in a corner of their hearts, they admitted that women could do better than them, which made them panic and think that if women were really given these rights, sooner or later they would be controlled by women. That scene was something none of them wanted to see. They enjoyed the happiness brought by women, rather than being oppressed by women blindly, which made them feel that it was not in accordance with etiquette. Rui Ziying understood their thoughts, so she did not think about achieving this goal within one day. This matter must be done gradually, and it would definitely not have any effect in a short period of time. Not only men cannot agree to this, but the most important point is that women will find it incredible to prove it, and they may even be unwilling to take the first step. Unless someone takes the lead, the rest of the people will think about overthrowing this feeling of oppression and regaining themselves. But how easy is that, unless one or two people are found as the leader to overthrow the current oppressed society? Rui Ziying took a deep breath and returned to her palace. She carefully thought about how to proceed with this matter. Not long after, the imperial concubine also came. After hearing about Rui Ziying's feat in the court, she admired her very much. "Sister, you are so amazing. I admire you so much. You dared to say such words in front of such a big scene. It just makes me feel a little unbelievable. And the most crucial point is that the emperor actually stands on your side. When I heard about this, I was worried that you would instigate with those ministers, which would affect the relationship between you and the emperor. But when I heard that the emperor was on your side, I was relieved. If the emperor really has other intentions towards you, then let's leave the palace together." After listening to this, Rui Ziying said with a smile, "You have been planning for a long time. Thinking of leaving the palace like this, I guess there's nothing in the palace that makes you nostalgic. But to be honest, you can live in this place forever. The emperor has promised to give you a good solution, and he will not break his promise, and I think you can also find your own happiness. If you like someone, remember to tell me. I can ask the emperor to arrange a new identity for you and let you marry that person. Then you should forget about your life in the palace and everything that happened. Start a new life and don't go astray. It's not easy to get the new life you have now. It's not difficult for the emperor to arrange an identity for you. He is also willing to send you out of the palace, so if you have time during this period, then observe more in the court to see if there are any suitable people. If you really find someone who suits your taste, then tell me, don't feel embarrassed." Chapter 164, Overturning the Current Situation. After hearing Rui Ziying's words, Manzai was moved to tears. She didn't expect Rui Ziying to be able to do this. Logically speaking, once a concubine enters the palace, it is equivalent to cutting off her own retreat, and there is no room for change. But Rui Ziying was willing to arrange a new identity for her, start a new life, and let her forget everything here, which means that Rui Ziying has actually arranged a retreat for her, just to see her reaction. "Thank you, sister. I didn't expect that I would have a chance to start over. I originally thought that I was destined to be in the palace for the rest of my life. It seems that my choice is indeed correct. Standing on my sister's side is the best ending." Manzai reached out to wipe her tears, and her heart felt more and more sour. The tears fell like beads that had broken off the string, and they couldn't be wiped away no matter how hard she tried. Rui Ziying reached out to wipe away her tears and said gently, "These are the promises I made to you. It's the only thing I can do. Just think about it carefully. I might be a little busy and can't take care of your situation. Although this matter is a little unbelievable to everyone, I still decided to give it a try. If gender equality is really achieved and we women have a certain status in this country, then I think we don't have to continue to be decadent like this. We may be able to take time out to play openly and no longer feel like we are trapped in a cage. Manziosi suddenly said firmly, I want to stay by my sister's side and accompany her to achieve this goal. Although I know that my sister is making plans for me and for my future, I also have my own ideas. My only idea is to stay by my sister's side. No matter what my sister does, I will unconditionally believe in you and help you. Even if I can't do anything, I can at least serve you tea, wash clothes and cook for you. I can do anything that anyone can do, and I promise that I can do it better than them, and be more outstanding, so that sister will not have any worries and can go to conquer the world with confidence. Sister has now obtained the emperor's consent, so it shouldn't take long to achieve her goal. It's just a matter of time. I believe that with her strength, she will definitely get the support of those people. Sister has such charm that she can make others trust you invisibly. Now those ministers don't support your opinion, but they think that what you propose is too bold and subverts their previous cognition, and they will find it difficult to accept, but as time goes by, what can they do even if they don't accept it? In the end, they can only choose to accept their fate obediently. When they get used to it slowly, they will naturally have no complaints. They will learn to get used to the arranged life. After all, what reason do they have to refuse what the emperor supports this time? Sister is the queen. It is natural for you to fight for the responsibilities that women deserve. Everyone will thank you at that time. I personally think that with my sister setting an example, we women have stood up. As long as my sister continues to walk on this path unswervingly, sooner or later we can go to the battlefield and kill the enemy like men, and make achievements. When Manziosi said this, her eyes were full of yearning, and she was obviously looking forward to that day. Rui Ziying said soothingly, don't worry. That day will not come too late. Sooner or later, we will be able to achieve our goals and reach the point we want to reach. After Manziosi went back to rest, Rui Ziying continued to think about how to solve this matter. At this time, Mrs. Rui also learned the news and hurried over to persuade Rui Ziying to stop indulging herself. If she continued to be willful, she would offend all the ministers in the court sooner or later. Rui Ziying said indifferently, I'm just fighting for the rights that we women deserve. Even if they don't like me, so what? I am the queen after all. Can they still do anything to me? At most, they will scold me behind my back. It won't cost them a piece of meat. What's the big deal? Mrs. Rui felt that Rui Ziying was simply too bold and presumptuous. She almost didn't care about the consequences. She was just like her father. It really doesn't matter. The ministers don't care and have already taken action. But have you ever thought about how many women will choose to stand on your side if you really overthrow the patriarchy? Their ideas are already deeply rooted. They think it is natural to stay at home to take care of their husbands and children. Even if they support you, it is the business of our next generation. By the time they grow up, it will have been many years. By then, you will have put forward your opinions and worked hard for such a long time, but got no response. You will regret it very much. Instead of regretting it in the future, it is better to stop now and don't offend those ministers. It's true that letting them scold you behind your back won't lose a piece of meat, but think about it carefully. Are you sure you can bear their abuse? By then, won't there be people in the court who keep writing memorials to the emperor? You will affect the relationship between you and the emperor. The most crucial point is that even ordinary people will not be able to stand it. They will think that you are simply a monster, who has bewitched the emperor and made him make such a crazy choice. They will put all the blame on you, making you a demon queen who has brought disaster to the country, and you will bear the infamy for 1,000 years and be insulted all the time. Sometimes women bear more than men. I just hope that you can live in peace until old age and be a good queen. As for things like gender equality, don't think about it anymore, just live a good life. The emperor is willing to respect your gift to you this time. You should be grateful, instead of thinking about making other women the same as you. It is your luck to live such an excellent life, but it does not mean that everyone is as lucky as you. They are not willing to work hard to overthrow the current situation. There are very few people who really stand on your side. After all, you are just walking forward alone. Chapter 165. If you can't convince me, then support me. Rui Ziying actually knew that everything Mrs. Rui said made sense, but there were some things she had to do. Women can be oppressed, but they cannot be oppressed for a lifetime. The reason why she was in that era could not achieve gender equality was because no one had this idea at the beginning. As long as someone takes the lead, you will be able to carry on with this matter, and women are not so costly. They are just oppressed by today's society, so they dare not resist. In fact, their hearts have long been unwilling to be comrades now. As long as they are given a clear way and told where to go next, they will be able to react quickly with their intelligence and wisdom, which is right and which is wrong. Moreover, human beings are born to seek the best way out for themselves. When they understand that their physical strength will be more certain, then they will naturally choose to support themselves. At that time, are they still afraid that this matter will not be able to continue? So she told Madame Rui very confidently, "Mom, I also know that this matter is very difficult, and it is very disadvantageous to me. Now no one is willing to stand on my side, and my proposal is equivalent to offending all the ministers in the court, but I just want to do it, I just want to try." Madame Rui sighed helplessly. "You are good in everything, but your personality is too much like your father. I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. You and your father have the same stubborn personality. The more you can't do something, the more you want to challenge it. Actually, I just want to tell you that you are a woman after all, and some abilities are limited. We should let men do most of the things instead of carrying them alone. This is too fair for you." Rui Ziying shook her head and told her very affirmatively, "We women are not limited in ability, but because the current society limits what we do. Many of us think that women should stay at home and take care of their husbands and children, but it has not always been the case. We can do no less than men, it's just that we lack the confidence to take on challenges. As long as we are willing to try, I believe we can do better than men. Apart from the fact that giving birth takes a little time, think about how we are worse than men. Although men are indeed simpler and more advantageous than us women in those aspects, it does not mean that we women are not good enough. We women are much more careful than men. When necessary, we can play a better role than them. As the saying goes, men and women work together and work is not tiring. How can only men be able to defend the country? Men must also have the blessing of women to play a greater role. But now these men are afraid that when women develop, they will suppress them. They even think that it is against etiquette to let women be the masters of the family. What I want to do now is to tell them in this way that their current thinking is incorrect. They must accept women and help women stand up bravely. Only in this way can our country become stronger. Think about it, other countries may laugh at us for this, but when our country really develops, they will follow our example and improve the status of women. In this way, our descendants can live a better life. They can be free to be themselves without having to oppress their hearts. They can do whatever they want and even do something to help the country. Instead of just obeying their parents' orders and accepting the matchmaker's words like we do now." Mrs. Rui couldn't help but frown after hearing this, looked at her seriously and asked, "Are you dissatisfied with Lu Gong being the queen? In fact, the emperor is quite good. There are only you and the imperial concubine in the harem, and he can be very obedient to you. Basically, no matter what you say, he will stand on your side without hesitation. A man as good as the emperor is hard to find even if you fight him. What else are you dissatisfied with? I tell you not to think about anything about this anymore. It's wishful thinking for a woman to be the master of the house. It's impossible to achieve. Although what you said makes sense, only when women really stand up can we prove how powerful we are. But even if women really want to stand up, it shouldn't be you who takes the lead." For the first time, Rui Ziying felt that Madame Rui was so unreasonable. "Mom, there has to be someone to take the lead. Since there must be a leader, why can't that person be me? What's more, I think that with my current identity, I am more suitable for doing this. If other people want to lead, they don't have my status and position. What's more, I have the emperor's selfishness. What do I have to be afraid of? It is better to get the support of the emperor than the ministers. With the support of the emperor, he will give me enough help, and then I can achieve my goal faster. And the reason why I put forward such an opinion is not for myself, but for all of us women. Although we have been well-fed and well-clothed since childhood, this cannot prevent some women from having an unhappy life. They have suffered all kinds of hardships just to pursue a better environment, but they fall into hell again and suffer abuse from men. This is very unfair to women." Mrs. Rui certainly understood this. She didn't want Rui Ziying to get hurt, so she kept trying to stop her from doing these dangerous things. But seeing Rui Ziying's persistence, she had no other choice. She knew that no matter what she said, neither of them would change their minds, and they might even do it secretly behind her back. Instead of letting Rui Ziying secretly do these dangerous things behind her back, It would be better for her to choose to support Rui Ziying and let Rui Ziying have enough confidence to face those difficulties. So in the end she chose to compromise and said, if mother can't convince you, then just do what you want to do. No matter what choice you make, mother will support you, but before that you must promise me that no matter what happens, you must protect your own safety. Chapter 166, Relieve Boredom. Mom only has you as her daughter. If you do something, then your father and I don't have to live in this world, so your life is equivalent to our life. As long as you can live safely and healthily, it doesn't matter what you do. Rui Ziying breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, her parents were more wise and chose to support her and stand on her side instead of blindly persuading her not to do it. Although she also knew that her parents stopped her from doing this for her own good, she couldn't accept her failure. The most unacceptable thing is of course that she has never tried it, and then failed inexplicably, and had to give up her choice and idea for various reasons, which made people feel particularly depressed. Therefore, it was not easy for Rui Ziying to get the support of her parents. She was also very happy to be recognized, and she held her mother's hand and said happily, "Mother, thank you for standing by my side and supporting me. I will definitely take the lead in protecting my own safety. Even if I fail to protect myself, I believe that the Emperor will definitely find ways to protect me. After all, the reason why I did this is to better protect his country. Everything I am doing now is for his people and him." In fact, Rui Ziying knew that what she did had nothing to do with Geng Guanyu. She just wanted to do these things. She wanted to save those women and not let them live in oppression all the time. If she thought that if she changed from this era, then in her own era, she would probably be able to achieve true equality between men and women. At that time, women would no longer be discriminated against, and there would no longer be a war between women and men because of a certain thing. Women would no longer be a vulnerable group. They could do more of what they wanted to do, and they could also become more outstanding, dazzling, and even no worse than any man. Because she had seen the beauty of that world, Rui Ziying believed that she could change the world. Since she came here, she had to do something to leave something unforgettable, otherwise she would have come here in vain. It is not easy to live life. Since you are here, you must find something to do. Sometimes life is too easy and you will feel boring. Finding something to do can make life challenging and is also a good choice. What's more, if I really change history, it can benefit more women and let them live a better life without being oppressed by so many people. Rui Ziying reached out and touched her belly, which was not yet pregnant, and began to look forward to the birth of the child. If the child is a girl, she will definitely teach her child how to protect her rights and how to do things to the best of her ability. She will keep telling her that women are not worse than men. The days of pregnancy are not comfortable at all, but Rui Ziying is very glad that she did not have any morning sickness. Otherwise it is estimated that the matter of the child should not be hidden for long. If Mu Huanshan had not found out, then why did he doubt himself, and whether he was not pregnant at all, but was misled by the quack doctor? But Mu Huanshan could not be a quack doctor, and he could not mislead himself. So this child must be real. It will only take another half a month to make the matter of this child public. By then, her stomach should also have changes, and she can feel the existence of the child. When she thought of this, Rui Ziying couldn't help but get excited and was full of expectations for this child. She felt more and more. It is really good to have a child, especially as a woman. When you are bored, you can have someone to help you relieve your boredom. It is boring to be alone in a place like the palace. Although there is now a concubine to accompany you, I am afraid that there will be more joy if you have a child. The equality of men and women proposed by Rui Ziying was not only opposed by the court and ministers, but also made many people sneer. Even this matter has spread to other countries, and people in other countries think that the emperor of the country where Rui Ziying is located is unreasonable and would indulge a woman's request. In their minds, women are like material countries. Once women are allowed to be the masters of the family, then it will not take long for my family to perish, and these words were also passed to Geng Guanyu's ears intact. The ministers used these topics to desperately persuade Geng Guanyu not to let Rui Ziying continue to indulge herself, as doing so would only make her more and more lawless. As a queen, she only needed to stay in the harem and take charge of the harem. The affairs of the court were lenient and could not allow a woman to make the decision. Geng Guanyu had a headache and rubbed his temples. He did not take their words to heart, but said lightly, "I will listen to what you said, and I will also consider whether what the queen said is really a bit unreasonable, but the number of people who oppose it so far has far exceeded my expectations. When I go back, I will discuss this matter with Mr. Wang. Don't worry, this was just his excuse. He would not tell Rui Ziying about this matter. Rui Ziying was pregnant now and could not stand any stimulation. If she knew about this, she would probably be very angry. What if she thought of the child in her belly? After all, this is Liz and Rui Ziying's first child, so there must not be any loss. It must be safe and sound, and there will be no more accidents after the child is stable. Rui Ziying is estimated to have learned the news through her own means. So it doesn't matter whether he tells Rui Ziying these words or not, it's just a matter of time. Rui Ziying will know what she should know, and it will be useless even if she is told what she shouldn't know. At most, it will make her angry for no reason, and then affect the baby in her belly. Rui Ziying, as guessed by Geng Guanyu, soon learned the news, and the news was also learned from the imperial concubine. The imperial concubine has not been idle these days. In order to entertain Rui Ziying, she has been constantly inquiring about the news outside the palace. In order to help Rui Ziying, she has also found a lot of people. Chapter 167 Convincing the Queen. After learning about this, she was the first to tell Rui Ziying, basically earlier than Geng Guanyu knew it. Rui Ziying said indifferently, calculating the time, it is estimated that these words have already reached the ears of the emperor. If the emperor supports me, the people he treats will not say anything about me. If he does not support me, he will not let me be so willful in the first place. He will not change his support for me because of those people's nonsense. Rui Ziying still has some self-confidence in Geng Guanyu, not to mention that she is also confident that she can once again convince Geng Guanyu to support her ideas. Gender equality is actually a very beneficial thing, but some men cannot recognize it, and they cannot accept their own failure. Man Ziyao couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when she saw Rui Ziying so confident. To be honest, I was a little angry when I saw all this, and at the same time I was particularly panicked. I was worried that the emperor would send my sister back for proposing gender equality. If that happens, all her previous efforts would be in vain. Sister has worked hard for such a long time. Although we haven't achieved any results, at least we have tried, so we won't regret it. But if we are declared a failure before we even get started, I think you will feel very sorry and unwilling. Rui Ziying reached out and patted her on the shoulder and comforted her. Don't worry, I know what's going on here. You continue to help me inquire about the situation outside and report to me in time if there's anything. I will think of a good strategy to deal with it, but you don't have to worry about the emperor. Since he has chosen to support me, he will naturally not go back on his word. Geng Guanyu soon felt what Rui Ziying was thinking. He was very happy that Rui Ziying was willing to choose to believe in him unconditionally. At the same time, he was particularly relieved that Rui Ziying was well informed and learned about it in such a short time, which was basically the same time as when he learned about it. He asked someone to call Yuzufei over, and then he wanted to discuss this matter with him seriously. Does the Prime Minister also think that the Queen's proposal is unreasonable? Don't you think that her proposal may bring some help to our country? Yuzufei said, the Queen's proposal may really bring us some help, but this is not inevitable. Even without the help of women, we can do a good job in the country and make the country stronger, but once there is the help of women, then other countries will think that we are weak and have to rely on women. Where will we men put our faces at that time? Geng Guanyu thought about it and felt that it made sense, but he also agreed more with Rui Ziying's statement, so he moved Rui Ziying's words out intact. But if our country becomes strong, then they will follow our example, right? After all, if the country can become strong, then no matter what means are used, they are all righteous. What's more, women are not shameful animals. Their abilities are actually no worse than our men. Yuzufei didn't know how to persuade Rui Ziying for a moment. He knew that Geng Guanyu must have been bewitched by Rui Ziying and felt that what Rui Ziying said made sense, but he still disagreed. Letting women be on an equal footing with them would not only have a certain impact on the status of men, but would also create women's arrogance. What if they really stepped on men at that time? I think your majesty should think about this matter carefully again. Perhaps the queen is just being willful for a moment. This is not a wise move. I don't know how much effort it will take to achieve this goal. What's more, there are very few women who are willing to do this. They don't have the courage to stand up, but we have to give them this opportunity. This is actually not good. Geng Guanyu sighed silently after listening. He also knew that Rui Ziying's idea was a bit too bold, But there was no other way, so he could only say helplessly, maybe the queen's idea is indeed a bit bold, and I have never heard of it before, but I am always willing to believe that the queen can really do this. The queen's ability should not be underestimated. Perhaps, he no longer had the courage to say the next words. After all, he was the only one who knew that he could read minds, and Rui Ziying was not from their world, so he was the only one who knew it. If the world that Rui Ziying came from really achieved gender equality, then he believed that their world could also achieve that condition. He believed that since Rui Ziying had proposed such a condition, she must have the confidence to do that, but she had to overcome many difficulties before that. He was also happy to support Rui Ziying and let Rui Ziying be free to be herself. He could not restrain Rui Ziying with the rules of his world just because Rui Ziying came to his world and stayed by his side. He hoped that Rui Ziying could live out herself and become more dazzling. As for whether those women could do better or even surpass men, it depended on their strength. If they were still cowardly in their hearts, no matter how they gave them a chance, they could not change their deep-rooted ideas. But if they were really willing to change and had the strength to be on an equal footing with men, then what about giving them a chance? They had to try to know how difficult it was to do this. Maybe if they failed in the future, they could be better at supporting their husbands and raising their children. Anyway, no matter what, since he has promised to give Rui Ziying this opportunity, he must let Rui Ziying continue until this matter is completely declared a failure and Rui Ziying gives up. He will agree to stop Rui Ziying. Before that, no matter what they say, he will not believe it, and he will always support Rui Ziying to do what she wants to do, no matter how wrong, how outrageous, or even how incredible it is, he will choose to support it without hesitation. Okay, you go down first, I will think about this matter carefully, and I will also try every means to persuade the queen to give up this idea. This idea is indeed a bit bold to want to do this, and it will not be achieved in a day or two. It takes a long time to plan. Chapter 168 Pregnancy. In the next few days, Rui Ziying listened to Mu Huanshan's words and prepared to take good care of herself in the palace. During this period, she tried not to go out and confront other ministers, so as not to affect the baby in her belly. Moreover, at this critical juncture, the ministers were busy complaining to Geng Guanyu and persuading Geng Guanyu to give up his ideas. It would be useless for her to go out and explain or reason with them at this time. It would be better to avoid the limelight first, and then bring it up after the matter has cooled down. It is estimated that everyone's reaction will be alleviated by then. After all, they have already had enough buffer and reached a certain acceptance value in terms of psychology. Instead of saying some soft words in front of them when they are all angry about this matter, like now, it will only make them feel that Rui Ziying is pushing the issue. Only when they calm down can this matter be resolved. Manziosi also knew that it was inconvenient for Rui Ziying to go out recently, so she stayed with her in the palace and basically did not go anywhere. However, the news was still accurately passed to her. This was also one of her abilities. Even Rui Ziying was a little surprised. Don't worry, sister. I believe that with your strength, no matter what means you use, you will achieve your goal, and one day you will be able to convince everyone to stand on your side, believe in you and support you. Rui Ziying nodded and said with a smile, I'm quite curious about what kind of means you use to make everyone stand on your side and support you. There are really very few people who can do this, and you just did it. I really admire you. Even I don't have anyone who can be so loyal to me. Of course, if you don't think it's convenient to say it, you don't have to say it. Manziosi smiled and said, how could it be inconvenient? I actually just bribed them with money. It is said that money makes the devil push the mill. As long as you give enough money, they will naturally be willing to do things for you. What's more, these people I use may not be ordinary people. They are all raised by me little by little. If it weren't for me, they wouldn't be where they are today. They may even be begging on the street and living a life that depends on others' charity to survive. With this said, Rui Ziying could understand. Because Manziosi gave those people hope, they were grateful and loyal to her, which led to the lack of any love. Even if she didn't watch them, there would be no betrayal. After all, their lives were given by him. If they betrayed because of such a small setback, it would be too disloyal. So that's how it is. Now that you put it that way, I can understand why they are so loyal to you. After all, you gave them a chance to live, which is very rare. If they choose to betray you, they would be really heartless. But it's not easy for you to think of using these people. I didn't think of it before, Maybe it's because I'm used to life in the palace, and I've lived a carefree life since I was a child. Therefore, I don't know the suffering of the people, and I don't know that there are still people who can't eat. I have never understood the difficulties of those people, which led me to fall into superstition. I thought of something more important than gender equality. I think that compared to gender equality, we should first rescue those poor people and let them have the opportunity to participate in protecting the country. How can we talk about gender equality if there is no equality between people? Only by making everyone equal and everyone having the opportunity to serve the country can our country become truly strong. I will talk to the emperor about this matter after he comes. As for gender equality, let's talk about it later. Anyway, everyone can't accept this fact yet. It's equivalent to me taking a step back first. Those ministers won't keep holding on to this matter. I have already given them a way out. If they still insist on holding on to this matter, then it will be their fault. I think even the emperor won't support them by then. I will definitely step down after all the hard work. Then this matter will become a lot simpler. With the support of the emperor, the lives of those poor families will change a lot. Manziao's eyes lit up after listening to this. She never thought that there would be such a method. She nodded in agreement and agreed with Rui Ziying's statement very much. She said it firmly. This is indeed a very good idea, sister. Why don't you mention this matter to the emperor first? If the emperor agrees, with the emperor's help, you won't have to work so hard. You are feeling a little uncomfortable now. I see that you rarely go out recently, and you often have nausea. I dare to ask if you have a child. After all, Manziaosi has been living with Rui Ziying, so she probably knows a little about Rui Ziying's situation. Although she has been working more frequently recently, she has always been concerned about Rui Ziying, so she is still clear about Rui Ziying's frequent vomiting. After hearing her question, Rui Ziying felt a little emotional. It seems that she won't be busy for a long time. She has indeed vomited recently. She was still glad that she had never had morning sickness some time ago, but when the child was about to be 3 months old, this situation still came. The reason why there was no such situation before may be because the child was relatively small. Now that it is big, the body still has an instinctive reaction. Basically, I can't eat every day. 4 women know this situation, even if they have never been pregnant. So it was not surprising that Manziaosi asked such a question. Rui Ziying knew that she could not keep the secret for long, and was thinking about how to explain it to them. Rui Ziying touched her belly and said with some emotion, I originally planned to tell you the good news after the baby was 3 months old, but it seems that I can't keep it secret now. I do have a baby, and it's almost 3 months, but I hope you can keep the secret for me for the time being. Chapter 169, Granted Marriage. I don't know how many eyes in the enemy country are watching my situation now. If they know that I am pregnant, it will not only be disadvantageous to me, but also to my child. In order to ensure the safe birth of this child, I can only conceal this matter temporarily. Fortunately, there are not many concubines in the harem, and there is only you. As long as you help me keep the secret, no one else will know about this. Besides, I am a member of the harem. As long as I go out less, even if I wait until the child is born to notify everyone, I guess no one will be suspicious. I do this for the sake of the child. Manziaosi nodded and agreed, and said without hesitation, Don't worry, sister, I promise not to let a third person know about this. This is a secret between the two of us. After the child is born, you can make it public whenever you want. It is almost impossible for anyone to get information from me. Since my sister already has a child, then I can rest assured. The emperor does need a child for support, but getting pregnant is indeed a very dangerous thing. I have heard a lot of news that the enemy country is ready to attack you, the queen. They want to use your incident this time as a handle to mock you in some messages. I was very angry when I first learned about this, but after all, they have the right to speak out, and I have no other choice. If my sister is pregnant, then try not to inquire about the news outside the palace. I will tell you if there is any important news. Sometimes hearing too much rumors will have a certain impact on you and affect your mood. Mood is very important when you have a child. If you are in a bad mood, it will easily affect the child. So if you have something you have to do, just leave it to me. You can completely trust me. I am now on the same front with you, and there is no turning back. Rui Ziying was an old man and he believed in her. After all, almost all the information he had received in the past few days came from her. If she really had any ulterior motives, she would not have passed such important news to him. Besides you, can I trust anyone else? Even if I trust the Emperor, I have never believed in him as much as I do now. I think the Emperor will be persuaded by those ministers one day, but I have given you hope to live. You can't betray me at this moment. I can still tell the difference clearly. As for the situation on the Chinese business side, I don't care at all. What I care about is your situation. If you betray me, then I will have no one I can trust. I used to have a very obedient personal maid, but later when the poisoning incident happened, my maid was assassinated. This has always been a pain in my heart. Since that maid, I haven't had anyone I can trust around me. Even when talking about something important, I would choose to call everyone around me away. But since you came, I don't have this concern. You and I trust each other wholeheartedly, so don't let me down, Manziosi said. If it doesn't work, I'm really glad that you trust me so much. Fortunately, I woke up in time and found that you stood on my side. In fact, the reason why I took that path before was, on the one hand, because of the task assigned to me, and on the other hand, because I had secretly fallen in love with the Emperor, but later I found out that the person the Emperor liked was not me, and he didn't even bother to look at me. From then on, I knew that my choice was wrong. So I corrected it in time and thought about finding a way out for myself. Even though I found you as a backer, you didn't let me down. Not only did you successfully arrange a way for me to survive, the most important point is that you also thought about my future, Rui Ziying said calmly. It is a very difficult thing for us women to live in this world, so we must support and help each other. Only in this way can we see a better future. If as a woman, even I am unwilling to help you, then who can help you in your most difficult times? You did do some very excessive things before, which made me feel confused, because I don't understand what I did wrong to make you hate me so much, but now I think through your explanation, I suddenly understand why you did that. It's just that you want to find a way out for yourself, as long as I give you this opportunity, so that you can live and grow old in peace. Your hatred for me will naturally disappear. If you have any requests in the future, you can tell me directly. We two are already very good sisters. No matter what you think, I will support you with great difficulty. Even if you want to leave the palace and get married in the future, I will raise this request with the Emperor. The Emperor told me a long time ago that he wanted you to leave the palace, but he didn't mention that he wanted you to get married, so if you want to get married, you can tell me, and I will mention it to the Emperor. I don't think the Emperor will let you down. After all, no matter what, you have been by his side and taking care of him for such a long time. He will tell me this. If he doesn't, I will use my own ability to find a way to get you out of the company and let you marry someone you like. I have told you before to pay attention to the people in the court. If you like someone, you can tell me and I will ask the Emperor to grant you a marriage. Have you had any excessive thoughts recently, or is there anyone you care about? If so, please tell me in time. After all, granting a marriage takes a certain amount of time. If I can marry you off at this juncture, then I will have no regrets. At least I have protected your safety. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Maintaining Relationship. It's just like fulfilling the promise I made to you at the beginning. I'll be relieved as long as your safety can be guaranteed, Manziosi said shyly. I have indeed been happy recently, but there is no one I like yet. It's not that my standards are too high, but I feel that someone like me is not worthy of them, even if I am given a new identity. So I still want to find an honest person to marry, even if the rest of my life is a little harder. At least I can stay away from this smoke-filled world, and I can take care of my husband and children in the future. In fact, I don't have any big achievements, and I don't have any high dreams. I just want to find someone to marry and spend the rest of my life with him. Having 1 or 2 children of my own will really satisfy me. As for other things, I don't have any ideas at all. Being sent to the palace as an undercover was also something I didn't expect. I have been hesitating and struggling from the beginning. I didn't know how long I could go on this road, but until I figured it out, I no longer had any worries. Perhaps being sent into Mango is also an adventure for me. If I had not been sent to the palace, how could I have met my sister? How could I have encountered all this? So these are actually blessings for me. I should not blame others, let alone resentment. Perhaps in some ways, I should be grateful for what the enemy did to me. If it weren't for them, how could I have a well-arranged life? This was something I couldn't even think about before, but now it has really happened to me, so I feel very lucky and fortunate to have met my sister. You are my lucky star, so I will never betray you in my life. As long as you have any requirements, even if I get married in the future, you can tell me at any time, and I will definitely go to the battlefield for you again without hesitation, because you gave me the hope to live and the possibility of not having to rely on others. I am happy to serve you. Therefore, no matter what environment I am in, my sister is the god I believe in most. As long as you need help, I will not hesitate to go through fire and water for you. No wonder it is said that saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Rui Ziying can now truly understand the meaning of this sentence. In the past, the two of them were incompatible. Did they expect that they could sit together and talk about this topic? And they could also say such touching words. If I had never thought of giving him a chance from the beginning, would the two of them still be as opposite to each other as before? The other party's requirements were not very high, but she had never really paid attention to this issue before. Now that they have paid attention, the two of them have indeed become very good sisters, and they can also say a few words in a place like the harem. This is indeed a very rare thing. He has read a lot of novels before, and the protagonists in those novels generally don't have such a sister who can speak the truth, and they need to be carefully guarded. But now Rui Ziying doesn't need to be on guard against him at all. She can speak her mind, and sometimes when she encounters any trouble, she can also complain to the other party in a logical way, and will not be ridiculed or framed by the other party. You don't have to do this. You've been working for me for more than a year. From the clues you've given me during this period, I've already gotten a lot of useful information. I also have a good development path. When our country is thoroughly developed in the future, I'll make a good arrangement for you and won't bother you anymore. Just live your life honestly. Even if I really encounter some difficulties and need you, I won't bother you at all. I'll replace you with someone else. This life means that you have no value to me. It's just that I actually used a good life and a good arrangement for you, so of course I shouldn't bother you anymore. You've finally found someone you like and have a satisfying life. If I bother you again, then my sister is too inhuman. Therefore, my second promise to you now is that as long as you get married and have your own life, we will still have contacts, but when I really need someone, I will no longer treat you as an object of use, nor will it cause any impact on your life. Manziosi wiped her tears with emotion and said, in my opinion, if I can help my sister, it will be a very happy thing for me. So if my sister really needs any help, you should just tell me directly. It is also a very rare thing for me to be used by my sister. I am very happy to have such a good opportunity to be close to my sister. If my sister is unwilling to use me in the future, then when I encounter any difficulties, it will naturally be difficult for me to help you, and there will be no reason for me to contact you. Therefore, in order to maintain the relationship between the two of us, my sister should not be too formal, and don't say anything about disturbing me or not. These are what I should do, as long as I am not pregnant and physically inconvenient at that time. No matter what kind of request it is, I will consider it carefully and talk to my man. It really depends on your seriousness. I believe that if he really likes me, he will choose to stand by me without hesitation and trust me, just like the emperor trusts my sister now. In this regard, he was quite insightful, which made Rui Ziying feel unusually surprised, and she said with great appreciation, I've noticed that since you started to dislike the emperor, your mind has become much clearer. You used to be obsessed with trivial matters, but now you don't have that problem anymore. You think seriously about what you want and what you need, which allows you to take control of your life. This is actually a very good thing. It also allows you to plan your own life, because I can completely put my mind at ease and don't have to worry about you getting married in the future. Chapter 171. His strength is obvious to all. Manziosi smiled sheepishly and said very tactfully, actually, it was only after I discovered that I didn't like the emperor that I saw a broader sky. I used to be too stubborn and trapped myself in such a place. Since my sister and I became good friends, I realized that there are so many beautiful places in this world, and so many unknown things waiting for me to explore, and what the emperor can give me is always limited. So through this experience, I learned an important thing, that is, if you really need something, don't wait for a man to give it to you, you still have to rely on yourself. After all, only what you give yourself is the most reliable. Others have the right to take back what you give you. Manziosi's words touched Rui Ziying's heart. He nodded with satisfaction and became more and more satisfied with the disciples he taught. Not bad, not bad, you understand it very well, it is indeed the case. You can only discover your charm when you don't rely on men, so I advocate gender equality in order to let more women discover this, but unfortunately most men are unwilling to realize my proposal. After all, in some ways, they are used to being taken care of by a woman, and once women understand this truth, they will gradually get out of their control, and then their lives will not be so carefree. So out of selfishness, men don't like women to be truly independent. That will have the greatest impact on them. So he would propose the second best, not to let everyone advocate gender equality for the time being, but to advocate those who are really poor first, so that they have a real sense of equality. After all, if there is no time for equality between the rich and the poor, how can gender equality be achieved? Gender equality is a very rare thing. If you want to truly achieve gender equality, not only must women be independent, but they must also have certain ideas. Only when they think they can do this in terms of their thoughts can true gender equality be achieved. In other words, if you really want to achieve this, then from now on you must establish a certain idea of equality for your offspring. Only in this way will men respect women and seriously think about the gap between men and women. Both sides can become better, instead of dragging each other down like now. Or people who look down on the other side unilaterally. Women have always been a vulnerable group, but Rui Ziying does not think that because it is a vulnerable group, it is natural to be protected. Women can also have their own world. After Manziosi left, Mu Huanchin came and said, "Sister, I think the war between the two countries is equal now, and I just heard a piece of news that a small plague has occurred in the poor village, and many people have been infected, so I want to test Gao Fengyuan to go and help the patients treat the illness." Because of the previous poisoning incident, Rui Ziying began to have a headache when she heard the word plague, and suspected that someone had poisoned again. However, at this time Yu Huanchin said, "This incident should have nothing to do with poisoning. It is indeed the arrival of the plague. My friend told me that this plague is coming with great force and the death toll is very high. If it is not treated in time, it won't be long before there will be more casualties. This matter is very serious." Geng Guanyu has not received any news yet, and Rui Ziying also feels very confused. But she must stop this matter from continuing to ferment as soon as possible. After all, many people have been killed in the last poisoning incident. If this kind of plague is added, the death toll will be estimated to be even higher. Although Rui Ziying didn't understand why there were so many disasters in this country, they had to survive no matter what difficulties they encountered. Only in this way could they give the civilians a sense of security and allow them to continue to live well in this country. Once they can't see any hope in this country, and this country gives them a lot of pain, it is estimated that it won't take long before they will find ways to move to other places, and then their country will be completely finished. In fact, what a country really looks at is not the consciousness of those men, but the ordinary civilians. Where there are civilians, that is the real home. As for the so-called capable people, they are just one or two outstanding people among the civilians. Rui Ziying knew what was more important, and soon told Geng Guanyu about this matter. Geng Guanyu had not heard the news from other people for the time being, and was quite surprised for a while. He soon launched a certain investigation and found that this matter had actually been going on for 7 or 8 days. And the death toll has reached more than 200 people. This matter made Geng Guanyu feel extremely angry. But he was angry that the people below knew about it but did not report it to situ, and concealed the matter in order to avoid taking responsibility. Such irresponsible behavior made Geng Guanyu particularly disappointed, and he also severely punished that person, making it impossible for him to sit in the official position again. Those who tried to conceal the matter finally began to be afraid when they saw the man and woman dealing with the matter so angrily. They all submitted memorials to Geng Guanyu to tell him the situation and asked him what he should do. The arrival of a plague is enough to destroy many people, especially for a country. The loss is very large. If this matter is not handled as soon as possible, the loss caused will be absolutely irreparable. It is precisely because of this understanding that Geng Guanyu came to Rui Ziying to ask how to deal with this matter. Rui Ziying had thought about it carefully before he came, so she said calmly, "Mu Huanchin has already volunteered to treat the plague. In this case, why not give him a chance? He is still young and can endure hardships. In addition, he also made an indelible contribution to the previous poisoning incident. With the outbreak of this plague, I don't know how many people are eagerly looking forward to his help and treatment. Since he has this intention and the people are looking forward to his arrival, let him go. Chapter 172. You shouldn't doubt her. Although Mu Huanshan is young, he has a good temper and his strength should not be underestimated. With his help in the treatment, it should not take long to control the plague. Our country can't afford any losses now. What the people need is a life of peace and prosperity, but natural disasters and man-made disasters have been continuous in recent times, and the lives of many of them can no longer be made up. At the same time, I also want to talk to you, Your Majesty, about the poverty of the common people. Some people can't even get enough food and clothing. I talked to you about the issue of gender equality before, but now I have more important things to do. I not only want gender equality, I also want to make sure there is no gap between the rich and the poor. Although this is difficult, you can at least give those poor people a chance to live, right? Those rich people can do whatever they want, but those poor people can't even get enough food and clothing. Do you think this is fair to them? Not only is it unfair, the most important point is that they are also the hope of our country, but many of them are starving and waiting to die. Now that the plague has returned, those rich people will naturally not suffer any losses and can still live the life they want, but those poor people may not be able to do so. They can't eat, and with the arrival of the plague, they have no money to treat it. In this case, they can only wait to die when the plague comes. Geng Guanyu frowned. He actually understood what Rui Ziying said, but it was not a simple thing to really achieve this. The gap between the rich and the poor was already huge. It would not be possible to make those poor people rich in 1 or 2 days. The reason why those people were poor was that they had problems with their thinking. Rui Ziying was right. Everyone must be equal, so first of all, they must be given the possibility of defense. As long as those people have brains, they can be as successful as other people. So he said, after the plague is resolved, we will think about how to deal with this matter. Now we have to solve the plague first. As for the problem of those poor families who can't even afford to eat, I will pass it on and tell those court officials to try to give some subsidies to the poor families so that their lives can be a little better. You are right, they are also the hope of our country. Only if we can make their lives better, will the common people stay on our side seriously, follow us carefully, and have no ulterior motives. Since Geng Guanyu had already agreed, Rui Ziying had no intention of continuing to push for it, and nodded in agreement. I feel relieved after hearing what you said. In fact, I have always known that it is not that you don't want to promote gender equality, but that the ministers in the court are unwilling to accept it. Before this, I had already guessed that this would be the outcome, so I never thought of blaming you. After all, I know that your ability is limited, and you have tried your best, which is actually enough. In fact, compared to the outcome of this matter, I value your performance and attitude more. Since you are willing to stand on my side, I am 80% sure that this matter can be accomplished, but it requires some setbacks. People always have to do a lot of things in their lives, and as the emperor, you naturally have to shoulder more responsibilities. Some people are poor, but they are also your people. You have reason to be responsible for their lives. You can't just watch them unable to afford food while we are still free and easy. We must do something for them. I am afraid that our quality of life will decline. In fact, it doesn't matter. As long as the people can live and work in peace and contentment, our sacrifices are justified. I'm really glad that you don't have too many concubines in your harem, otherwise the expenses for them would be a huge sum of money, and the lives of the people would be even more difficult. In the last poisoning incident, we had already used the property in the treasury. This time, I think I will pay for it temporarily. Geng Guanyu refused without even thinking about it. Since those things are yours, you should keep them well. No matter how useless you are, you can't use your dowry. What's more, you already have a child now. These things of yours will be the child's family foundation in the future and will also be of certain use to the child. Although the things in the treasury are a little expensive, aren't they saved for use in situations like this? Since the country is in trouble, it is natural to use the things in the treasury to help the civilians tide over the difficulties. I believe they must also want to see us do something, rather than waiting for you to bear the consequences alone. That would only make me look like I'm doing nothing. Since I'm your husband, I should of course protect you and the child. As for using your treasury, there's no need to talk about that anymore. I'll find a way to deal with the money, and I'll never let you suffer any loss. You just need to live your life well. My quality of life can decline, but yours must not. After all, you're pregnant with my child now, which is completely different from before. Rui Ziying couldn't help but say after hearing this, so in your opinion, the child is much more important than me, right? If there wasn't this child, perhaps the conflict between us would never be resolved, or the way we get along would never change, and you and I would still be competing against each other. Geng Guanyu held her hand and said gently, I think this is the best ending for the two of us, and the conflict between us has long been resolved invisibly, and I've fallen in love with you unknowingly. Although I discovered this very late, I can guarantee that this is true, and I have absolutely no ulterior motives towards you. If you insist on saying that, then you will only hurt my heart. After I send the imperial concubine out of the palace, you will be able to see my sincerity. I am not only sincere to you, but also to the child. The reason why I value the child more is because this is the child between you and me. The focus is on you, not the child. Chapter 173 Pushed away. After hearing this, Rui Ziying could accept it reluctantly, so she nodded with satisfaction, and forgave him this time. I won't bother with you this time, but next time you must think carefully about how to talk to me. If something like this happens again, I won't let you off so easily next time. Rui Ziying found that her temper had become more and more irritable since she became pregnant. Any little thing could make her lose her sense of proportion, but she was still very confident in the face of major events. She was just a little too arrogant in front of Geng Guanyu. Fortunately, Geng Guanyu's temper had improved many times compared to before, and he had no intention of bothering her at all. Geng Guanyu reached out and touched her head, and said gently, Don't worry, as long as I am the emperor, you will always be the queen, and no one can replace your position. By the way, about the matter of the princess before, have you heard any news recently? I have forgotten it completely, but today I heard about the plague, so I remembered the time when the enemy country poisoned me, and naturally I remembered the princess sent by their country. In fact, if Geng Guanyu didn't mention the princess, Rui Ziying would have forgotten her completely. It might not be that she had been kind enough to go to her last time, but got such a result. She was not the kind of person who liked to put her face in front of others' cold butt, and after a few days, she naturally forgot everything. Let me go and find out what's going on. I haven't heard much about her recently. Most of the time, it's the imperial concubine who passes me the news. The imperial concubine should know that I don't like her very much, so she blocked all the news from her. Geng Guanyu was very pleased after hearing this, and he rarely praised the imperial concubine. The imperial concubine is quite sensible in this matter. It's also because she is taking care of you that I can deal with other things better. With the imperial concubine taking care of you in your mother's company, I don't worry about anything happening to you. He was also very satisfied with the imperial concubine Rui Ziying. The imperial concubine has done a good job. She has basically done everything she can, and she has taken special care of me and never made me worry. She has been the one who inquired about the news outside, and she guessed that I was pregnant recently, and knew that I might be in a bad mood, so she stayed with me in the palace and cooked for me every day. Geng Guanyu asked with some surprise, Does the imperial concubine know about your pregnancy? After listening to me, Rui Ziying rolled her eyes and said rudely, The imperial concubine is not a fool. Besides, she is also a woman. Her pregnancy is easy to be discovered. Besides, she and I have lived together for many years. Once she sees me having morning sickness, she will naturally associate it with my pregnancy. However, Geng Guanyu said unnaturally, But even your mother doesn't know about this. How did the imperial concubine know? She couldn't have any second thoughts about you, right? You should still be on guard. Although she knew that Geng Guanyu said this with good intentions, Rui Ziying felt that she couldn't kick it out. Besides, the imperial concubine had taken good care of her during this period. Now Geng Guanyu actually suspected her, which made her feel a little angry. Although my mother also lives in my palace, she has always felt that there is a difference between the noble and the humble, and she seldom comes to where I live. In fact, we don't have much time to really see each other. It's not as good as the imperial concubine and I. The imperial concubine and I stay together all day to chat and talk. What's more, the imperial concubine saw me having morning sickness once, so she naturally guessed that I pretended very well in front of my mother, and I can guarantee that the imperial concubine has absolutely no ill intentions towards me. Even if you betray me, the imperial concubine will never go against you. Don't be jealous of the friendship between me and the imperial concubine, and don't try to sow discord between me and her. After listening to this, Geng Guanyu said with a smile, What are you thinking? How could I betray you? If I betrayed you, wouldn't that be equivalent to betraying my country? I can't betray my country, and I can't betray you. You are the person I hold in my heart. There is no one more important to me than you in this world. Besides, I am your husband. No matter how good your relationship with the imperial concubine is, she can only be your sister at most. When the imperial concubine gets married in the future, you two won't even have time to meet each other. How do you know that she will be loyal to you? Rui Ziying didn't listen. I don't care. The imperial concubine is loyal to me. It is impossible for her to have any ulterior motives towards me. Don't say such things again in the future, otherwise I will be unhappy when I hear them. If I am unhappy, it may affect the baby in my belly. If there is any damage, you can't afford to compensate. Hearing Rui Ziying actually brought up the child, Geng Guanyu finally realized how excessive his words were to Rui Ziying, so he hurriedly apologized. Okay, I'll apologize. What I said just now was a little wrong. If the imperial concubine really has other thoughts about you, then naturally she wouldn't stay by your side and take care of you. You two have already lived together. You should know better than me whether she has any other ideas. After Geng Guanyu said this, Rui Ziying finally felt a little better. She nodded seriously and said, even if the imperial concubine really wants to betray me one day, with my sensitivity, I can quickly guess what she wants to do, and I will find out earlier than you, so you don't need to remind me. Before that, I will always trust the imperial concubine. She is much more reliable than you now, and she not only takes care of my food and daily life, and she is especially attentive to the child in my belly. Even you don't have time to accompany me, but she has pushed all things aside and just stayed to take care of sisters like me wholeheartedly. There are not many sisters like her, okay? It is not easy for the imperial concubine to do this, and you are still doubting her here. If she knew, I don't know how sad she would be. Now even I feel a little sad. Chapter 174. That's what he should bear. Geng Guanyu begged for mercy. Okay, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have suspected the imperial concubine. I know the imperial concubine treats you very well, but in fact, when Geng Guanyu heard what Rui Ziying had just said, he felt a little ashamed. He knew that he was indeed a little busy recently, and basically all the things were on his head. He didn't have much time to accompany Rui Ziying. He could only see Rui Ziying once every 2 or 3 days, and he didn't have time to say anything caring. He had to deal with other things again. Rui Ziying had complaints about him, which was actually natural. In fact, it was not only Rui Ziying who had complaints about him, but his brother himself also had complaints. He finally got together with Rui Ziying, but he didn't have much time to accompany her. Instead, he was always busy with national affairs. If he was more capable, he might be able to easily solve this matter and take more time to accompany Rui Ziying, but now all the things were on him alone, which made him feel particularly suffocated. There is also the issue of gender equality that Rui Ziying had said before. Until now, there are people who keep writing about it, just trying to change his mind and ask him not to indulge Rui Ziying's nonsense. Is there anyone who knows better than him whether Rui Ziying is fooling around? He knows that every word Rui Ziying said is serious. Rui Ziying really wants to change the current mode of getting along and make women truly powerful, but the women nowadays don't have that awareness yet. They don't know what the benefits of Rui Ziying helping them are. By the time they can understand Rui Ziying's good intentions, it is estimated that they don't know how many years have passed. By then, even if gender equality is truly achieved, no one will remember what Rui Ziying has done now. Now Rui Ziying bears the infamy of everyone, and she is alone to deal with those so-called ministers, just hoping to achieve gender equality, but those women don't have any feelings, and even think that Rui Ziying's idea is a fantasy and impossible to achieve. But in fact, when all this really came true, they would only participate in the enjoyment. They did not have any gratitude towards Rui Ziying for helping them realize this. They even felt that this was a matter of course, just because this was what Rui Ziying should do as the queen. Thinking of such an ending, Geng Guanyu felt particularly chilled. He really thought a lot, but he never had the courage to tell Rui Ziying about these things, because he was afraid that Rui Ziying would be sad. Because it was not easy for me to be pregnant during this period of time, the physical discomfort made her mood particularly irritable, and she knew the difficulty. So many people would send some food every day, but Rui Ziying could only look at very few. Even if she could accept the same thing every day, Geng Guanyu felt particularly satisfied. Looking at the tired look on Rui Ziying's face, Geng Guanyu felt extremely distressed and couldn't help but reach out and touch her nose. Why don't you just stay in the palace for the time being and don't worry about anything for the time being? I'll tell the imperial concubine not to send you any messages to avoid affecting the child. The baby will be 3 months old soon, and everyone will know that you have a child by then. You will also be able to receive more blessings from people. And you should feel much better by then. I don't know how many eyes are staring at our child, openly or secretly. No matter whether the child is not born now or will be born in the future, there will be some people who want to harm him, and we can't stop them. The only thing we can do is to protect our child well and let him grow up safely. This is the most important thing, don't you think? As for other things, I can't take care of them at all now. Rui Ziying agreed to the second half of the content, but she didn't support the first half. The reason she gave was, these things are what I should bear as the queen. If I can't even bear this little pressure, then there is no need for my child to be born. It will be more difficult for him to shoulder this responsibility in the future than what I am doing now, so it's natural for me to bear all this pressure, and my child should also bear it with me. I also believe that as long as I protect my child well, he won't have any accidents and will grow up safely. The child between the two of us will definitely not be too simple. He will have all the right thoughts. Besides, with my blessing, why can't you think that my child will be smarter than you when he is born in the future? Anyway, no matter what, there may be only one child between the two of us, so this child must be the future prince. The two of us must train him well, let him choose to be independent, be able to deal with those talents and rewards, and survive well in the cracks. Everything he will encounter in the future will be much more difficult than what we have now. Whether he can grow up is a very serious problem, because many people want him to grow up. Only in this way will they have a reason to continue to attack you. Once this child grows up safely and you have an heir, then the problem will be very serious for them, because there is no way to be sure whether this child is as easy to control as you. If this child is much smarter than you and has a more difficult personality than you, then it will be a big challenge for them, and they certainly don't want to see that they come, so I guess they will find ways to eradicate the child before he's raised safely, so that he won't even have the possibility of growing up, and naturally they may go to deal with him. As the emperor, if you can't even protect your own children, then I think there is no point for you to sit on the throne, so I don't ask you for anything else. I only ask you to protect our child well no matter what, and don't let him grow up safely and happily. As for the things he wants to sell, those are what he should bear, and there is no need for us to feel too distressed. We will naturally help him if we can, and as for what we can't help, let him bear it himself. Some things he must experience. Chapter 175 Asking for Trouble. Otherwise, he may not be able to grow up in this life. How can a child who has not experienced setbacks hold his head high and face the future life? For example, do you dare to say that you have never experienced anything since you were a child and have always been well protected? Geng Guanyu really didn't dare to promise this easily, because he really experienced a lot of things since he was a child, some good and some bad, but he has survived them all, and he experienced the killing of brothers and sisters and the incident of the succession, which can be said to be very tragic. But it doesn't matter, as long as he survives, then he will be the final winner, and when he mentions this matter again, he still feels very emotional in his heart. If he didn't survive and was strangled in the cradle, then this would be a very embarrassing scene. Don't worry, our child will be able to grow up safely, and I think what you said makes sense. There are some things he should accept, so naturally we have no reason to help him block them. After all, we can only accompany him in the first half of his life. As for the second half, he has to fight for it by himself. How he lives the second half of his life depends on how much effort he has put in the first half. I'm very glad that I got through it back then, otherwise I might not be able to meet you now. I'm even more fortunate that I chose you at first sight during the talent show and made you the queen. The child between us will definitely be smarter than me and will definitely be very healthy. He really didn't care at all about what Rui Ziying said about the child being smarter than him. It was also a good thing for him for the child to be smarter than him. As parents, if their children are good enough, it is a very happy thing and it is also a capital for parents to show off. So he didn't think that Rui Ziying's words just now were insulting to him. He even thought that he should bear it as a matter of course, because he had indeed caused Rui Ziying a lot of harm in the past, so no matter what Rui Ziying said, he would not be angry. This was also his only promise to Rui Ziying. At this point, Rui Ziying felt that she had gone too far, and naturally there was no need to continue. If she succeeded in angering Geng Guanyu, then let alone herself, I am afraid that even her family would be affected. Even if she was pregnant now, Geng Guanyu would not do anything to her for the time being, but she could not guarantee that Geng Guanyu would be able to treat her so calmly after the child was born. Rui Ziying didn't have it. Before coming here, she had heard that men were completely different before and after marriage, and they would become different afterwards. They might shirk their responsibilities. Although they would value their children, the woman who gave birth to his child was no longer as important as she was at the beginning. Rui Ziying was also worried about the coming of that day, so she was actually a little apprehensive about the birth of this child. What if after the child was born, she did something excessive when she was pregnant, which led to Geng Guanyu having to be eliminated by her? She could only persuade herself as much as possible, not to succeed in angering Geng Guanyu, and not to go too far. Everything should be done in moderation. Geng Guanyu still needs him now, so he would naturally do something to her. She was a little sentimental during her pregnancy. And she would think about things even if they were not very important. She had already asked Mu Huanshan about this issue. Mu Huanshan said that it was not a big problem, but that every pregnant woman would experience it, so he didn't take it seriously. It was not until this moment that she realized the seriousness of her own sentimentality, and her sentimentality seemed to be more serious than others. I don't know if it's because I have been in the palace recently and haven't experienced other things, so I'm bored, so I decided to reinvest in other things and try to keep myself busy, so that I won't be bored and sentimental. She felt that all her sentimentality was caused by boredom. As long as you are busy here, you will naturally have no extra thoughts to think about those things. After Geng Guanyu left, Rui Ziying quickly called Man Ziosi over and asked him about the situation with the princess recently. Maybe it's time to go to her place to relax and see how she reacts. If she still has that mentality, then of course she should be taught a lesson. After all, they are now in their territory, but the other party is still arrogant. It's time to kill her arrogance. If she has admitted her mistakes and is willing to give in, then it's not impossible to give her a chance. When Man Ziosi heard Rui Ziying asking about the princess, she was surprised and couldn't help asking, "Why are you so surprised, sister? Why are you asking about this?" The princess has been staying at the post house recently. The people in their country have successfully given up on her, so naturally they won't send anyone to pick her up. Rui Ziying nodded after hearing this. The princess had long ago become an abandoned child of some country, but she didn't know about it at all. She even thought that she could gain a foothold in this country and ride on Rui Ziying's head. But she didn't expect the explosion to come so quickly. Within a few days, their country had successfully given up on her and had no intention of taking her away. The fact that she was an abandoned child soon became known to everyone. Not only could she not gain a foothold in this country, but no one in their country cared about her anymore. She is probably hiding in the inn crying now, so Rui Ziying said to Man Ziosi, "We haven't had time to go for a walk for a long time. In this case, why don't we take this opportunity to go to her place and see what her attitude is now? If she is still as tough as before, then I think this is all I can do. Let her solve it herself." As to what happens next, Man Ziosi felt that Rui Ziying was too soft-hearted. If it were her, she would definitely not try to please someone else and make herself unhappy. Rui Ziying also had a point. Some things do need to be dealt with, and there is no point in staying like this. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.